Well, a very good morning and welcome to day 2 of competition at the Cancun Grand-Prix 2017. We're going to start by taking a look at the 4 weight categories that we've got to bring to you today. 2 men, 2 women. It's the under 63 and the under 70 kilo categories for women, and the under 73 and under 81 kilo categories for men. And it'll be Jean Shin to tell you about some of those picks. A very good morning to you, Jean.
Good morning, Sheldon.
Let's see what we've got.
Okay, at the under 73 kilos for men, we have at first seed Tohar Butbul from Israel. And at the second seed, we have Martin Hojak from Slovenia. So we're looking forward to seeing that, hopefully in the finals. Of course, from the U.S., we've got Nick Del Popolo, who will hopefully be facing Butbul in the quarterfinals of that 73 kilo class.
The US had a good day yesterday, didn't they? They took a few
Did
medals.
Okay.
Yeah. My money in the under 73 kilo category, I think Marcello Contini and Alex William Pombo da Silva. I'm going to go for an all-Brazil final, and the reason for that is that I just spoke to Ed Liddy, and he was saying how many Europeans were complaining about the jet lag, and it's just beginning to kick in there, and he's saying, hey, we have to deal with that all the time when we travel from North America to Europe, and there's a possibility here that a few of the Europeans are flat and they still haven't recovered, and maybe they've been on the beach a bit, and enjoyed themselves. You can see, where we are, Cancun. How do you stay away from it?
Yeah.
I'm going to go for an all-Brazil final in the 73 kilo category.
And there was some recent studies showing that traveling across time zones has a severe effect.
Okay, so could be.
Okay, 81 kilos. At first seed, we have Attila Ungvari from Hungary. And in that same bracket, we have Owen Livesey from Great Britain, who looks like they're going to be...
Yeah, he could cause some problems. a strong fighter.
Right.
Yeah.
At the top of the bottom bracket, we've got Victor Penalber from Brazil. And we don't think he's going to... You were saying earlier you didn't think that you didn't see anybody troubling him too much.
I like Penalba. It could be that Lucenti, who is, I wouldn't go so far as to say a spoiler, but he's a very, very difficult opponent. Sagi Muki's in there as well. Former world silver medalist Serdan Mrvaljevic of Montenegro. They're good boys down there. But, my money is on Penalba and... Yeah, Penalba.
Okay.
I'm going to leave it at that. 63 kilo category for women then.
Okay, at the top of the bracket we have Andreja Leski from Slovenia. And then at second seed...
Yeah, the sister, Amy Livesey.
At the top of the bottom bracket we've got Amy Livesey, who is the sister of Owen Livesey.
Hannah Martin is in there,
Hannah
as
is
is
from
her
the US.
teammate.
Another one, Leilani Akiyama.
Yeah,
All right.
Haven't seen her for a while. We thought she was going to wrap things up, but I think the danger in there could be Caitlin Quadros from Brazil. She'll be up against Ljubljana Piovasana of Great Britain. That'd be a nice matchup. In the 70 kilo category,
it's number 1 seed. We have Elvismar Rodriguez, who is the number 1 ranked player in the world at the moment at this weight class. So we're certainly looking forward to seeing her do well today. But then we also have another American, Chantal Wright, who will be facing Roxanne Tymans from Belarus.
Belgium. Yeah, that's a tough one actually. And then Nicole Stout.
Another one from the US. So,
right, we're going to start by taking a look at the contests on mat number 2. Eduardo Avila of Mexico faces Noel Pena, who's representing the IJF. It is Avila in the white judogi, Pena in blue. You can choose. You can choose whichever mat you want to watch just by clicking on 1 or 2, or if you want to stay with the commentated channel, you just click on that and you'll have us. Gene.
So as experienced judo players and watchers will know, as we get up into the upper weights, the judo changes a bit. The lower weights, there's a great deal of very, very dynamic action. It's still very dynamic, of course, but the pace of it and the quality of it has a different feel, a different tenor. So that's something to look at today. But on the other hand, you also get tremendous power generated by these heavier athletes.
Did Pena give him a little bit of a push?
Yep, looks like he stepped out.
See, yesterday they gave a penalty for a very, very similar thing, in my opinion, and said it was a push.
It was a little subtler, I think, this time.
You've got
So
to be able to
Aila-
stand up a little bit, haven't you? You know, you get some pressure. You just can't
Right.
walk out. Anyway,
It didn't seem to rattle him at all.
nah, hasn't bothered.
No.
Plenty of time left on the clock as well.
Oh. Second Shido for Aila. This time for passivity. Maybe he was a little too unrattled.
He hasn't woken up yet.
Well, he didn't travel across any time zones.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, strong right hand grip against a Kinkaiotsu left grip from Pena. Uh-oh. Looks like he got a poke in the eye.
It's not the first one that we've
No.
seen
Those can really,
in this competition.
but you know, you've got to shake it off. That's a countryman of mine as the referee, Sharon Landstreet.
She's doing really well.
Yeah, I think this is her third. I think she told me this was her third international refereeing experience.
Yeah, the first time we saw her, I was really impressed. Thought, you know, to come from, we hadn't seen her before. So all of a sudden there she was at a Grand Prix, and she did a very, very good job. And she's competent. She's always, you know, looking to learn. Very, very focused. So, yeah, good job.
One bit of trivia is she's had a marvelous mentor in refereeing from one of the premier referees in the United States, Roy Englert, who's also you know, just a terrific ref, a terrific official, an amazing attorney, actually, who's argued several cases before the Supreme Court.
Ah, okay. You've got
So Aila, I think Avila's stepped it up a bit. He's attacking a bit more, but neither one of them has really been able to generate a decisive set of movements so far.
still a little bit troubled with the eye injury that he picked up.
Yeah, that was pretty good poke. Okay. Oh, Pena coming in and then with a Sewanage, but then following up with just this charge, bringing him down to pick up the Wazari.
It's horrible time to give up a score, 40 seconds, and then go. Oh, they've waved that off.
Oh.
Gets
It wasn't really so much of a throw as it was sort of a
Yeah.
drive.
He gets a bit of a life there, does Avila.
But we've seen other scores do that.
Yeah.
Other motions get the same score, so. Looks like referee might be getting some direction from the commission. Nope. Okay. So there isn't the same kind of really frenetic sort of activity that you see in the lower weights, but it's still very powerful. If you've never been in that kind of situation where you've got two really big beefy guys getting these strong grips and really starting to pull you off balance, it's hard to imagine.
Two penalties picked up by Eduardo Avila puts him in a tricky position as they go into golden score.
Right, as we were saying yesterday, penalties no longer decide matches in regulation time. You have to have a technical point. Okay. That was not so we see a lot of tomonage as people have really tried to pick up groundwork more, but sometimes but the rule is you have to try to throw in order to go into newaza.
And then as a rule, the referees will look at whether your opponent had to defend the attack.
Right.
That will suggest that it was a genuine attack.
It was a genuine attack.
If they didn't have to defend it,
right.
then for me, because we were talking about this yesterday, it comes under two headings. It could be a failed attack. It was just so poor that he didn't have to defend it.
Mm-hmm.
But it was your genuine intention to throw.
That was.
What's happened is it's falling into this kind of grey area for both of us, where it's a genuine effort to throw, but it's just so poor that it doesn't move your opponent, and as a result of that, you're being given a penalty. So
there's another one.
See, but right at the end, she'd already called the mate there.
Yeah. But he was, I think, in movement
yeah.
as it was happening.
Yeah.
Right. So she can't.
Lucky.
Right. Yeah, he's lucky. He's lucky. So, but another thing I think that happens is when you start to play at this level, you begin to develop a very fine sense of what it actually takes to really, really throw. And you can go right up to that line, and you can, and there are gradations of of effort.
Yeah.
And if you put enough effort to be convincing, but you know it's not enough to be at risk, as a player, you get to know how to do that really well.
Exactly. That was the point we were making yesterday. I want to do as much as I can to continue to look busy. I don't want to pick up a penalty, and I also want to make it difficult for my opponent. What I don't want to do is get countered.
Right.
So I know where that line is. I'm going to do just enough.
Right.
And
nice.
That was a good effort.
Okay.
And that was where I think one or two people fell foul yesterday.
Right.
They got caught out.
And so here's something. So when something like that happens, and it makes me say, "Oh, that was nice." There's a combination of things. Avila was moving in. He was in the right place at the right time for Pena to come in and really try sewanage. And so even though it wasn't the most concerted effort to do sewanage, I thought it was a really genuine attempt.
Yeah.
And so it's like, almost. And these other attempts at tomonage, okay, that was nice too. Really smooth. These other attempts at tomonage don't rise to that level. They don't say, nice try at tomonage. It was like, okay.
It's done now, I think.
Let's see.
Once you ask them to tidy it up, it can only go one way.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's, I think, the right call. Avila just never got it going. Okay. A nice calm start to our day with Pena coming away with a win there. So who do we want to look at next?
Well, we've got 81 kilo category right across the board. So who's coming up next? It's the opening round.
Right.
We haven't got the big names because the big names, if there is an opportunity for a bye, then the number one seed is going to get it. And if you then have 3 buys in the first round, then seeds numbers 1, 2, and 3 are all going to be missing. So you're going to miss out on the big names in the first round.
Well, here we have.
I'll bring it up on our little laptop here. Then that way, it'll be a little bit easier to read.
Right. Penalba, who you were talking about, will come in until the next one.
That's who we've got.
Mendiola from Spain and Borja from Colombia. Nice. Sumigaish bringing him over.
The advertisement in the background showing the World Championships for 2017. In a couple of months away from that, they'll be held in Budapest.
I think they're waiting to hear if that was worth a Wazari. And just reminding people, or people who are just joining us today, the rule changes that came into effect. Ooh, it was a Wazari. So, Andiola got a Wazari for that. There is no Yuko anymore. So, anything that would have been a Yuko previously is now counted as a Wazari. And Wazaris are no longer cumulative. Trying the Sumigaishi again, but Bora was clearly ready for that one. Just not going anywhere. So Wazaris are not cumulative. So you could have 2, 3, 6 Wazaris and it won't win the match. I think the most we saw yesterday was 3.
I haven't been at the competition where there have been 5.
Wow.
But I did see where someone was thrown on 5 occasions for Wazari.
Nice. Nice. Sewanage. And gripping has changed. The grip rules have changed. If you're looking at Borja, he's getting this, he's really gripping low down on the cuffs, getting down. And you can do that now. You can grab the cuffs. You can do a cat's paw grip. You can do a pistol grip. It doesn't, and that's all legal. The only thing that's still illegal as gripping is getting your fingers inside the sleeve. So you've watched many more of these than I have. How do you think that's changed the play, this grip so far?
It's still reasonably early to determine what the long-term effect of that, and a little bit like when we did the rule change with the leg grab, it took a while for the posture to change and people to get used to it and that sort of thing. And there were quite a few controversial instances of leg grab. Was it this? And but I think we've worked that out, and I think we will also work out the gripping. The real question is how quickly the referees will penalize what they see as a negative grip. So if you take a pistol grip, but you immediately begin to make an action to attack, that's not the rule. The rule says you must attack immediately. Right. But what we're noticing is that even if you don't attack immediately,
you're allowed to hold it.
You're allowed to hold it as long as you're not pushing down and being negative.
Right.
So what they want to do is allow as many grips as possible that result in positive actions. It's tricky to find the language that will please everyone. And oddly enough, it was the Russians who said, no, we don't want this freedom. We want a statement that says if you have a negative grip, you must attack immediately. And Vitaly Makarov was one of them, and I can't remember the name of the other coach at the moment. It will come to me. And they said at the IJF seminar, our players are really adept at looking as though they are doing something when they're really not. Now it's
that's quite an admission.
Well, what he then followed that up was saying, and if we can do it,
anybody can do it.
Anybody can learn how to do it.
Right.
So before that happens, let's
nip that in the bud.
Yeah, let's clear that out. Let's have a level playing field where it's easy to understand. You take what was an illegal grip previously. If you take what was previously an illegal grip, you must attack immediately.
Right.
Because then there's no
there's no gray area.
Yeah, there's no argument if the referee calls mate and penalizes you.
Right.
However, if in the process of attacking you take 1 or 2 seconds or even 3, but during those 3 seconds you are positively looking for the attack and the referee doesn't, we can live with that. If one of our fighters is thrown as a result of our opponent taking a previously illegal grip, looking positive, and then throwing him, we're okay with that. If he gets thrown, he gets thrown, because it means that we can do it too. I thought that was really good.
That is good.
They said, "Hey, don't do it."
That's a great conversation for
two. There were two on the two of them on the mat, and he stood up and said, "Nope, we could be there all day,
So,
just doing nothing.
great conversation to have happened, but it's interesting to see how it actually plays out in application. And I think that what we're seeing, though, is that it's not 1 or 2 or 3 seconds. It's sort of indefinite. You know, they're getting a grip and they're holding on to it.
And moving.
In this case, Mendiola did a really good job of, you know, applying it and getting it going. Roja never really got it going in that match.
I think when we can sit down and say we're upset at the length of time that he's had that grip and done nothing, then he deserves a penalty.
Right.
But if
or if he's being really
exactly
shutting the other guy down
just
with it.
He's only got that grip in order to close down his opponent. Let's just introduce the two fighters coming to
Berliner.
the match. Kel Berliner of the United States of America is up against Sagi Muki, who's moved up from 73 to 81. I'm not sure if this is a permanent move, but he's certainly up there at the moment. We'll ask the Israeli team.
Berliner coming out strong. I'm sorry, Sagi Muki coming out strong with a initial Uchimata.
Yes, so it's Berliner in the white judogi, Muki in blue.
Right.
And I was speculating on the possibility that Kel might be related to Gary Berliner. I don't know.
Oh, nice. Nice. Big hip toss. You could see from the beginning that Segi just had this really nice, Muki just had this really nice drawing Berliner in, and Berliner was not able to hold him off, and he just pulled him right up into his hip and around. It was just really good. Just pulls him right in, brings him around. Beautiful. Oh, Goshi. Really nice. Now he did elevate the leg a bit,
a little bit,
but it's still clearly a hip throw.
Yeah,
it's not his leg.
It's not his leg. He was going from the hip. Yeah, there.
Yeah.
It's an afterthought, isn't it? Yeah. And it really doesn't change anything.
Right.
Yeah. Good call.
Yeah.
Mr. Shin. On the mat now, Matthias Kassa of Belgium is up against Samuel Ayala of Mexico. It's Kassa in the white judogi, Ayala in blue. Matthias, just standing up there, nice and tall. Nice and upright stance. I haven't seen a lot of the Belgian.
So is okay.
And Matthias
coming in.
with
Matthias
the
with a nice
Tomonage.
Tomonage.
It's missing out.
And that was
there.
a nice one. That was more dynamic. It wasn't quite as deep as it could have been, but and it obviously didn't throw Ayala, but
I haven't seen Ayala either.
oh, Matthias with another one, with another nice Tomonage. Much more effective, but didn't quite get him over. And now, of course, Ayala is responding with a attempt to get some shimiwaza, I think, but couldn't quite get his hand in there.
I like when the
Rotation?
when the foot almost becomes like a hand.
Right.
The foot goes in there, and yet they find a way, because Ayala's trying to spin off that.
That's right.
And
do a cartwheel. And
Cass is still in contact with him and trying to guide him off to the side.
So these players have a conventional right-to-right grip. And Matthias Kassa is looking for that Ouchigari. Doesn't get it, but comes around.
No.
Yeah. So I think Kassa really, I was going to say, Kassa really has the initiative here, and Ayala needs to move up. And that's not what he needs to.
I suppose when he gets a better feel for how strong Cass is with the grips, he may be able to work something out. But you haven't got a lot of time, and whilst you're trying to work things out, you're also trying to avoid getting thrown.
Pretty entry for Sewanage. One thing I like to see on Sewanage, though, is when people, if they come down to their knees, that they keep their toes live so that they can come back up and his toes were dead there. They were flat, so he couldn't get any elevation, and therefore Aila was able to shut it down.
Yeah, they get committed to what I would call just dropping
Right.
to their knees instead of squatting down, and I'm sure that the first exponents of that low seoinage didn't drop to their knees. What they did was to get as low as they could below their opponent's center of gravity, and they just got lower and lower and lower until they were squatting down.
So low.
The squat eventually turned into a drop to the knees as you completed the technique. But your point there meant that they were always on their toes.
Always on their toes.
Always on their toes, even when they were driving and eventually ending up.
Oh, nice. Sorry,
Matthias, almost on the arm now.
And that was another really nice Toanage.
Minute 20 odd left to go.
And Matthias Kase has really retained control of this match. Even though he hasn't got a score on the board yet, he's had several attacks.
He's shaped with a Kouchi on a couple of occasions, but hasn't gone through
so
with
he's attacking low, he's attacking high, he's attacking in the mid. See there he's coming in for perhaps some kind of Koshiwaza.
He's looking at that.
Oh, there's a Seoinage again.
I was going to say he's looking at the right
and
leg.
See, right there, see? You see his feet. So
yeah.
So that kind of seoinage that we're talking about with live toes, that was something that, one of the great things I had growing up was there's a large Japanese population of judo players in Chicago where I was growing up. And some of these gentlemen were, a good deal shorter than me, but because they were able to come in so low and keep their, keep this very dynamic base as they were doing their seoinage, they would get down between my knees and then launch me with this seoinage and just drive straight up as my balance was coming forward. And it was amazing to experience.
I'd gone to Canada for a while in the mid 70s, and I came across a couple of players there, the ones that you just kind of talking about, and they employed that technique, and that's across the chin again.
Yeah, but a very dynamic entry into that choke.
He's got the osai kami. Matthias.
Oh, that was quick.
With the,
and he's sort of...
It's an untidy
we
looking...
can't see it too well from here.
It looks almost like Tatsushi Ogutami, but he's rolled off. Yeah.
He called it Toketa. So, but he got the Wazari at the very end of the match. So
it is Matthias Kass of Belgium who takes the win, and I think we won't go there again. We've done that enough, haven't we? And he hasn't risen to the bait.
We've been having a little fun with the name Matthias because
our chief is called Matthias, and there he was out in the middle. He knows.
He's laughing now.
He must have known from the get-go. He never looked around once, did he?
No.
He totally ignored us.
It's very German.
So, Cass goes into round two. We just call him Cass from now on then.
All right.
Patrick Dawson is up next. Patrick Dawson of Great Britain. He faces Sergio Mate who's representing the IJF. I suspect that he's from Venezuela originally, Sergio Mate. They've got quite a big group of them out here, but we've taken them under our wing for the time being. Anyway, it's Dawson in the white judogi, Mate in blue. Can have fun with that, couldn't you, Mate?
The first one of your countrymen we've seen today.
It's funny.
That being Great Britain.
Yeah, I was about to look up and say, I don't think there's anyone from Trinidad here. So what an odd feeling that was. That was very bizarre. Yeah. The under 73 kilo category, another round of that is taking place on mat number 1, but they're about to start with the first of the contests in the under 70 kilo category for women. Emily Suk of Denmark faces Barbara Timo of Brazil down on mat number 1 if you want to take a look at that. We're going to stay here.
Dawson really likes this external sort of Kosoro gake kind of hook, but it doesn't seem to be bothering Mate very much. And it doesn't convince the referee either. He said, no, that's not an attack. You're being passive. You really have to be more assertive. Tries it again. He likes this left hand, strong left hand grip. Mate taking the right hand grip, which results in what's called a kinkayotsu, fighting grip situation. And it's something that I'm very familiar with because I'm a left-handed player myself. But so when you have that sort of mirror image of grips, it does several things. It sets up, there's a sort of a attempt to get into a Sutemi Waza, but just brought them down to the mat. The Kinkayotsu sets up several things where it allows you to have a very strong defensive posture without looking too defensive, but it also opens up the other guy. Right-handed players typically don't like playing left-handed players because it reverses everything. The things that you like to reach are far out of reach, and the shoulders turned away. Okay, Sergei Amate just called the Shido for a false attack. And he comes in deep for left side Osoro. It's not able to really prosecute that. Now they're both doing this sort of, yesterday we talked about this slow burn with this low level, constant Ashiwaza thing, and we're seeing the same thing here, but not with the same kind of intensity, I think, that we were seeing. Oh, now there's a deep, nice deep Tomonage, but it didn't really, of course, didn't get Dawson over or even up, but that kind of thing I feel like was a real try to get Tomonage. The thing about Tomonage is that you can notice that Mate is shorter than Dawson, and it's hard for him. It's hard. Oh, nice. Ouchigari. Dawson, Mate turns out of it. No score. He's able to fall on his front. Anyway, it's hard to throw somebody tall with Tomonage if your legs are shorter than theirs because you have to get their hip or you have to get into their hip and elevate them off the ground. Okay, Dawson takes Mate's back, and he's trying to get a Shimewaza, but that's not a very good position to do that particular kind of Shimewaza on because he's under Mate's arm, and that's not going to finish. So he switches off, comes around. Mate's got his leg tied up, so Dawson's trying to free it. And he frees his leg and gets the osekomi. Osekomi, of course, meaning pin. And he has 20 seconds. Mate has 20 seconds to get out. After 10 seconds, it's a wazari. At 20 seconds, it's an ippon. And he's not doing much to get out of that. I think he recognizes this particular pin is called katagatame. And it's very strong. It's a very difficult pin to get out of when your arm is trapped against the head like that, and your entire upper quadrant is very tightly controlled. Dawson just had a very powerful katagatame there, and was good enough for the ippon. Okay, we're getting into 70 kilos, which is the women's division. So I think we'll just stay on this mat. And up is Kalita Zupancic versus Amanda Oliveira from Brazil. Zupancic is from Canada. It's a good Canadian name. Amanda Oliveira from Brazil in blue. Okay, Oliveira's got the first attack with a Sewanage, just setting that. Oh, and Zupancic responds with a nice Kouchigari, which brings Amanda down, but not enough for any kind of score. Oliveira clearly likes to, doesn't like Newaza, doesn't want to get any Newaza going, so she's just grabbing Zupancic's leg and preventing any sort of positive action. Another Kinkayotsu situation you see very clearly there. And it's typical that one person, because both arms on the same side are trying to grab the collar, one will typically be higher than the other or inside. And right now, and it is preferable to be on the upper side so that you can bring your elbow and your arm drive more positively into your opponent, as you saw Zupancic do there. Okay, Oliveira draws the Shido for passivity. Again, Zupancic taking that strong left grip, bringing Oliveira down. Now you can't crush somebody so that they cannot respond. Oh, nice. Coming into a Sutemi Waza, but not enough. Oliveira is able to turn out of it. And again, no Newaza. Neither player seems to be a big Newaza proponent.
Yeah, it's a strange thing because Zupancic has got exceptionally good newaza. She spent a long time in Japan and became very, very close with a nice group of girls out there, worked hard and really improved her newaza. I suspect, however, that with this particular opponent, Oliveira, she knows her well. They're both from the Pan American region. They may have gone head-to-head before.
Zupancic from Canada?
Yeah. So Zupancic and Oliveira, both competing in that region, have said, hey, I know you, so I know that I've rolled on the ground with you before, and I know that you're good in newaza, because Brazilians tend to be, pretty good.
There's a strong groundwork in Brazil.
And she's decided I'm going to give that a miss on this occasion, unless I really get something.
But Oliveira doesn't seem to be doing anything with that either.
Yeah.
I mean, are they canceling each other out?
Yeah.
They just decided because we're not going to do that here.
Yeah, because presumably Oliveira also knows of Zupancic's prowess.
Oh, there's some.
Okay.
Here
we go.
Because nothing was happening on the feet, really.
Yeah.
And Oliveira now has 2 Shidos.
Yeah, it's not going anywhere. Yeah, that's my take on it. But when they walk round, I will ask Zupancic. I'll go and check, because it's just guesswork at the moment.
Right.
But because I know she's good on the ground, I'm going to go with what you're saying, that they're just leaving it. There's got to be a reason behind that. And I can't remember whether she was at Komatsu, Zupancic, with Hashimoto Yuki and who was it that won the under 70 kilo category then? Tachimoto Haruka. Yeah.
Well, I think if Oliveira is not careful, she's going to draw a third penalty here. Zupancic has been coming in with that strong left hand. And while I was saying earlier, you can't crush somebody so they can't attack. You have to try and do something with it. She has been. She's been coming in. She's got a much more dynamic standing game today. And, a little bit of... there we go. Big hand. Leg to the outside, trying to do this sort of ashiguroma.
Well, no positive score as yet. 2 penalties against Oliveira. We may have a little bit longer to wait before we come up with a result here. But I'm going to wander down to the entrance to the warm-up area, and then I'll catch Miss Zupancic on the way out, and I'll just check that. She's normally.
Oh, there now, Oliveira with the first, I think, serious sewanage, but not, of course, not effective.
It'll be ironic if this ends on the ground, won't it?
Yeah, it's like, that's what was happening yesterday. It's like, they're not doing this, and then all of a sudden they start doing it.
Us having debated for a minute and a half,
they
2
must
minutes.
hear us.
Yeah.
They must be able to hear us out there.
Yeah. Gemma Howell and Leah Puschel of Germany are up next, and Chantel Wright of the United States of America and Roxanne Taymans of Belgium. That's in the under 70 kilo category. We'll follow that with Amy Livesey of Great Britain and Elizabeth Garcia of Mexico. That's all on mat number 2.
So trying a bit more with the newaza there, but not with a great deal of intensity. So one thing about the Kenkayotsu grip, if you're used to it, particularly if you're used to playing left. Okay, here we go. Now they're really working on the newaza much more. And Oliveira coming around, working to get control, but Zupancic doing an excellent job of making sure she is not going to get close to that. I was like, only putting her toe back in place. So as Zupancic comes in with a strong left hand, if you're used to that, if you're a left-handed player, you get to play right-handed players all the time. But if you're a right-handed player, you don't get as much experience. So left-handed players coming in and favoring that Kenkayotsu situation and find themselves, much more comfortable relatively. See how she's got that inside. Oh, nice drive! Nice drive by Oliveira at the after a long match where we just didn't see really much going on. All of a sudden, really good. Let's see if we can see that again. Just coming in and then catching that Ouchigari and then driving up against Ivancic to take her over. Really strong. Now that's a great example of taking advantage of your shorter stature and coming down low to take that support away and then drive up into Ivancic's, the taller partner's neck while pulling on their right sleeve. And so this terrific Kazushi in combination with this. It's almost as though the Ouchigari set up a hand throw in that case. Really nice combination of movements there. Okay, right now we've got Gemma Howell from Great Britain versus Leah Puschel from Germany. Might be Puschel. Oh, almost a little eye poke there. Great Britain in white. Germany in blue. Oh! Little exclamation there because I saw a little bit of an armbar. But so Puschel just got called for stepping out of bounds as her arm was being taken off to the side. Oh, nice deep entry into Sewanage, kind of revert to sort of Uchimata for the Wazari. Howell is definitely driving this match so far. Howell favoring the left side, but okay, Puschel really coming in. Trying to pull her around. Getting her hip in a little too early, I think. Just getting her hip ahead of her hands. You see Puschel's initially reaching in with the right, but then switching to a left grip. But it's not affecting Howell nearly as much as it needs to. Howell's working to convert to the Kansetsuwaza armbar technique, but to no avail. Howell's still up by Lazari. Puschel has a Shido. So now Puschel's definitely got the longer reach. She comes into that right, and then she reaches over for the left. And so it effectively switches her right-hand grip to a left-handed stance. And Howell tries to convert that to a Sutemiwaza. And I think Poishol's hand was caught against Howell's back as she came down. Looks like it might have caught her finger a bit. Right, you can really see a difference in the reach there. And Poishol's really taking advantage of it at this point. And Howell's having a tough time getting past that right hand. Let's see what happens this next exchange. So one interesting way to look at a judo match is to not just see it as a single match, but as a succession of exchanges where the tenor of the match can really evolve over time. And as a player tries something over and over again, the other player can become accustomed to it and adapt to it. And it becomes interesting to see who is the more adaptable, who's the more flexible, who is the one who's able to change their game up to address what a player is doing and how quickly and with what facility they can do it. So it's not just a matter of strength or even just technique, but it's ability to learn on the fly and to take what you already know and then apply it. So right now, both players are kind of stuck. Okay, now Howell has also gotten a penalty for stepping out. And Howell's found a way to get past Poishol's grip there and is driving her down. Doesn't throw, but it's definitely keeping Poischel from capitalizing on her longer reach. One interesting thing about Howell's stance, though, is that she's reaching it deeply with her left, but her right foot tends to be forward. So they're getting into this very awkward side-to-side sort of struggle where neither one is able to get any kind of advantage. They're working very hard to shut each other out while they're looking for advantage, and of course that's a very difficult tension to maintain. Okay, that's a bit more conventional, but and they keep coming off to the same side. So this can happen too. You try something and you feel like it's almost there, and you try it again, and you end up repeating almost the same pattern over and over. And you can see how they get this grip and they walk off towards the back half of the mat, try for a technique, they drive each other off and out of bounds. So they're in this pattern now. It'll be interesting to see if one of them can break this pattern and capitalize on it, which is what I think happened in the last match, where we saw Ivancic get caught with that beautiful O-Uchi Tewaza finish. That really wasn't one throw. I think that was really a beautiful combination of standing technical applications. Okay, second. I don't see that one of these players is stepping off any more than the other, but okay, Howell has picked up a second Shido for stepping out. And she's clearly trying. They're clearly trying, but I really see these two as being stuck now in this. They're stuck in this repetitive sort of sequence. Okay, now Poischel took Howell's arm, and there was a possibility for Konsetsuwaza there. And it is perfectly legal to do arm bars on your feet. It's seen very rarely, but it's possible to do. Okay, the time runs out. And Howell will win with the Wazari that she earned in the first few seconds of the match. So that's one reason to come out. That's a good, it's an interesting thing. She came out, she set the match, and she was able to keep it from that point on. Okay. I think let's go to mat 1 and pick up this match that's in progress right now. Oh, time has just run out. I'm sorry. They were, oh no, I'm sorry, they just started. Okay, 3, 4, I was looking at the wrong clock. This is Ljubljana Piovasana? Piovasana. Another good British name. Versus Sofia Arevalo from Mexico. Oh, nice! Nice Ashiwaza. But it wasn't enough, even though it was a nice throw. Oh! Did it? Did it count? No, it didn't. In fact, I think she just got penalized for stepping out of bounds. So Arevalo just got penalized for stepping out of bounds, and she got thrown, although the throw didn't count as a point. So it didn't count as a point because it didn't happen soon enough as a continuation of the movement that would happen that began in bounds. So here, see that you can fight up right to the edge, and you can continue to throw and be completely out of bounds as you throw, as long as the motion began in bounds. That wasn't the case last time. Okay. So you see how the referees call it mate just before they are stepping out of bounds, but a real throw hadn't begun yet, so he called mate. Okay, so that looks to me like, okay, I guess, I'm sorry, I'm looking at Piovasana's grip, and it's called a cat's paw grip, where your fingers are really gripping the edge of the cuff, and your palm is along that edge. So I thought for a moment that her fingers might have been inside, but they weren't. Okay, see another strong Kenkayotsu situation. Diana comes in for a hip throw, but it doesn't work. Next up, we'll have Chantel Wright from the US versus Roxanne Taymans from Belgium. Okay. Now, even though they were out of bounds, that Piovasana is able to continue to try and get this shimewaza because it started in bounds. Oh, and she's tapping. Arevalo is tapping, and so Piovasana will get the ippon. Will win this match with a nice shimewaza, nice tewaza. So shimewaza comes in several different classifications, and this one is a single-handed choke because only one hand was actually used to apply the choke around the neck, so that's a kata tejime. All right, if we can go to mat 2, and I'd like to, let's look at Chantel Wright. A minute and a half into the left in the match, and Wright has a Shido. So that match we just saw was 63 kilos. This is at 70 kilos. And Chantel Wright picks up a second Shido for stepping off. Both very upright players, really used to using their height, I think. Chantel comes in for this sewanage, but isn't able to finish, and Taymans immediately answers with an attempt at shimewaza, and now converts to, switches off, but fails, and then switches off to jujigatame, trying to get this armbar. But Wright closes the distance and keeps her arm from being extended. And so, because no progress is being made, the referee calls mate, and they have to stand up. So something that has also been a development in recent years has been the acceptance of much more newaza in judo, where previously you only had a very few seconds in order to demonstrate progress before the referee would stand you up. Now they're giving much more leeway to that and letting players really work and recognize that progress in newaza is more methodical generally and more deliberate than it is on the feet. And so while we love to see the big throws, we recognize that newaza is a very important part of judo. And in fact, 3 of the 4 ways to win in a match technically are most commonly practiced on the ground. You can do chokes and arm bars standing, but they're almost always done on the ground. So choking, arm bars, and pins. Okay, Chantal Wright picks up a 3rd Shido for stepping out. And so Taymans will take this match, 70 kilos. Okay, up next is Amy Livesey from Great Britain versus Elizabeth Garcia from Mexico. Sheldon has come back and joined us, and he's just in time to see Amy Livesey play.
Yeah, and well, there were several stops along the way. I really wanted to have a chat with Kalita Zupancic, and I did. And she confirmed she had fought her recently. She wasn't aware that she was avoiding newaza, but she remembers having been with her, and that was a
factor.
Yeah. So although she didn't deliberately stay away from it, she wasn't aware of it. But yes, they had fought recently. She was wary of her.
I see.
Put it that way.
Yeah.
Livesey in the white, Judogi Garcia in blue. It's round 1 of the under 63 kilo category. Tall and leggy is the British fighter. And her brother is on mat 1.
Oh, playing at the same time.
He got 2 Liveseys.
Her brother looks kind of leggy too.
That's how that's worked out. Yeah.
Although his hair is a good deal shorter. Oh! I'm watching,
I'm
watching the brother.
The other Livesey.
He just picked up his opponent to try to do uranage, but didn't quite work.
Yes, if you want to watch Owen, he is on the adjoining mat on mat 1. You can click on that. And you clever people who can open more than one browser at a time. You've got the best of both worlds. Ouchigari from Amy Livesey, and then you can see the other Livesey in the background. They were almost on the same mat at the same time.
Almost. That would be something.
A unique experience. But it's not out of the realms of all probability that they could compete in the same team at the same time, because we've got the team event for men and women.
Oh, that's right.
Coming up. So the Liveseys could be the first brother and sister pairing.
That's something.
In an Olympic team event. How's that? They'd have to qualify for that. And then, of course, the weights would have to work out. Owen is 81 and it's under 90. Amy is under 63 and it's under 70. So we've just got to sort that out. And just to update you with the Livesey family outing as we're having at the moment, Owen has gone ahead by Wazari. Okay, let's try and we're trying to focus on the contest in front of it, which is Amy Livesey of Great Britain and white judogi Elizabeth Garcia of Mexico in blue. There's Jean.
So I've been watching Amy Livesey's gripping, and we've been talking about this new flexibility or latitude in gripping, and here I think was a good example. She had Garcia's Livesey was using her left hand to grab Garcia's right cuff, and she was keeping it very low, and she was moving around a lot, but I wouldn't say that she was really trying to attack. And it was a long time that she held on to it, and because of that grip, Garcia was not able to get her own movement going. But she's also really wasn't trying to free it. So that's something I think that maybe the play has to keep up with too, is that once this grip is acquired, you have to get really good at being able to free that grip. Oh, nice drive for Ouchigari, just driving her clean off the mat, but down to her front. And switching immediately into this kata tejime, this single-handed choke, getting it very deep, and then hooking her arm around the opposite leg, and then driving, trying to sink this choke in, but the referee calls mate, looks like it might have been over her jaw, but it's impossible to tell, you know, because of the way the head is obscured. Anyway, you know, one thing to evolve is then the response to that kind of specialized grip. And one of the reasons they were outlawed for so long is because they're very difficult to deal with once it's been acquired. You know, your hand, your arm, your entire arm can get locked out of line, and you can't get your own grip. And you really have to learn specific ways to free your hand then. And now they've got to learn that and use that and work that into their overall way of moving. So it's a whole, it's changing the game. It's really going to change the game.
And the language that the refereeing commission will use to describe what can be allowed and how long for.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, chance
Nice.
there. Missed it. Missed it.
Yeah.
What they want to be careful of is that they don't tie themselves up and completely block out
Right.
what may be actions that
Okay,
could result.
so
Yeah.
that just, that annoys me so much. Garcia just tried to launch a very concerted shimewaza, and a moment later she's called for passivity.
I'm going to mention that.
Sheldon's actually going to the commission, I think, to lodge a comment about that. You know, because, and so that, okay. I don't want to get too much about it. Nice, coming in for Uranage, and it started inbound, so that should at least be a Wazari. Yes, it is a Wazari. And it's kind of odd calling it an Uranage because she was in front. They were belly to belly as she did it, but it was that Uranage motion. Anyway, and it happened right at the end, so good timing on Amy Livesey's part to take the Wazari at the very close of the match against Elizabeth Garcia, who should not have had 2 Shidos on her scoreboard. And that is, it's not that the referee's wrong according to how the rules are applied. Garcia didn't have the same kind of overall attacks that Livesey did. And I'm just looking at the scoreboard now. So, yeah, let's stay with this. Enriqueta Barrios, representing the IJF in white, and Karina Orellana in blue from Chile. Nice strong dynamic beginning. Just to finish this thought, that call, even though somebody has attacked very, very vigorously on the ground and really tried to get something, you can still be called for passivity if your standing game hasn't been showing the requisite energy. And that is an artifact of something that has just been a part of judo for a long time, which favors standing work over ground work. In fact, you can be incredibly active on the ground, and it doesn't count towards in this subjective assessment of how hard you've been working. And you can be as defensive as possible on the ground. You can completely refuse to move on the ground, and that doesn't count. That doesn't count as passivity, just because of the culture of judo and the way that judo has evolved, throughout its history. And so that's why we're seeing that particular call. And it's something I've never felt myself was appropriate. It's been, I'm not criticizing, the referee at all. I'm making a comment about, the way judo has evolved itself. Because as we've noted, groundwork is a critical element of judo. It's right now, here we see a really nice attempt to get some shimewaza, some choking technique. She's working that right hand in under Oriana's chin, but not enough progress was made quickly enough to warrant the continued effort. So here we see another example of height differential. Nice! Barrios reaching over and really using her height to draw Oriana off and bringing her down, but no score. And so Oriana now going for a sankaku, what's known as a triangle, by wrapping up Barrios around the neck, and she's going to try and convert this either to an armbar or, yep, she doesn't do it. Well, that's a little counterintuitive. You know, the taller player with the longer legs generally has the advantage in that sort of application. But Oriana's clearly very comfortable with it. Oh, beautiful! Osoro Otoshi. Really nice. Again, just really using her length and her height to draw Oriana off to the side and really come into this beautiful Osoro Otoshi. I call it an Otoshi because it was much more of a dropping motion than a big sweeping motion, which would be called an Osotogari. Really pretty. Nice. We can get another look at that. See, she's coming in.
Oh.
Really gorgeous. Oh. Isn't that nice? Sheldon's just returned. Just boom. And look at those legs coming up. That's what we like to see in judo. That's what we pride ourselves
slow motion
on in
now.
judo. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Really
that
nice.
first lift of the leg, it's so deliberate.
Yeah.
And then that drive right through. This is really a gorgeous look.
And see, now look how her leg drives. See how it drives down? It doesn't really cut through, so I'm calling it an Otoshi instead of an Osotogari.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good with that. Whatever it was nice to watch from this position.
That's not a fun fall to
I
take.
would have hated to be on the receiving end of that. Hannah Martin of the United States of America is up against Vivian Herrmann of Germany. It's Martin in the white judogi, Herrmann in blue. We're in the lucky position of having some degree of
autonomy?
Well, no, reception and access to reasonably well-placed members on the International Judo Federation administration. That's not going to call any names. But I can tell you, go direct to the head refereeing director and speak to him about that incident with the Shido for
nice
non-combativity was what she was penalized for.
Right.
It came after a period of activity in Newaza.
Right.
And it just gives that odd feel.
It's a discontinuity.
To the contest. Right. Almost coming up with the score there.
Yeah, but she was just...
So it was a little bit odd that having, been in control of the Newaza exchange, she then stood up and had the non-combativity penalty awarded, and it was a hangover from a period before they went to Newaza. And what was said was, yes, there have been occasions when the penalty is given immediately after the Newaza exchange, and it always looks odd, and it is something that they are looking at, whether the...
Oh, nice coming in. Sorry to break in.
No, it's okay.
Coming in for this nice shimewaza.
She's in some trouble here.
Yeah.
No, it's across the chin.
Well, yeah. So as you were having that conversation...
They're looking at that and deciding whether or not the action that should have been penalized before they went to the ground. And what they're saying is that if, with the knowledge that a penalty should be given, they call mate, they could stop an active action taking place on the ground from either fighter. So in a way, you're looking to, let's say in this instance it's blue, you're looking to penalize blue, so you stop the action and you give blue a penalty. White may have benefited from going to ground, but we stopped the action.
Right.
So it's a tricky one.
So, but I think that the thing that I see there, though, is that it's not taking into account the fact that there is a lot of action happening on the ground, and then that should, in by itself, negate the idea that they were being passive.
I think what's the
But it's not being taken into account because we don't tend to count that in Newaza. We don't.
There is a sport where you get penalized as the action that takes place, and I can't remember what it is. They don't stop.
Well, we
in
do that
order
here.
to
They
award.
they call penalties while the action's going on, and they don't stop it all the time.
In any event, it's something that they're looking at.
Right. So one thing to let you know, while you were
Yeah.
having that conversation, I was discussing here how the way that I understand this is that that whole thing about not taking action in Newaza into account, either in terms of passivity or assertiveness, is something. It's an artifact of the way judo has evolved over many decades, and it's something that historically it just doesn't count. You can be as
Yeah.
passive
in the
as you
rules,
want.
apparently.
Right.
Even in the rules.
It's in the rules.
Yeah.
You know, you can be as passive as you want on the ground, and it doesn't count against you. You can be as active as you want on the
Yeah.
ground, and it doesn't count for you.
You can openly do what you cannot openly do when you're in tachiwaza, and that is you can just go, I'm
You
not
can-
doing anything.
And it's called turtling.
Yeah.
You can become a turtle.
And you don't get penalized for that.
It's
Yeah.
all good.
Okay. Right. Okay. That's something that we're going to have to discuss
And
with
it's
the powers.
I've always
that
thought that was wrong.
Yeah.
Because okay, I'll stop.
Yeah.
We
No
should watch
score
the
yet.
judo.
Well, people at home are free to watch.
Yes.
We're not interrupting their viewing.
And this is a good match too.
Yeah.
Hannah Martin and Vivian Herman are really going after it. They're really working on each other. 35 seconds left in the match.
Single
No
Shido.
single Shido. Both have really been doing a lot of Newaza in this match, actually. They've both given each other really good attacks going after choking techniques. They've worked on turns. They're both standing, nice and tall. Okay. Stepping off.
Yeah.
So they now each have a Shido. Oh, wait.
Both.
Oh, and
They
she
both
stepped
wandered
off.
out,
So they both
yeah.
stepped off. Okay. But again, Shidos do not determine winners in regulation time. It doesn't matter how many penalties you have, as long as you don't get to the 3. If you have less than 3, you're gonna, it doesn't keep you from winning.
Ooh.
Oh, hold her back on. I'm not stepping off this time.
Be careful with that hand.
So
Reflex action to block with the hand.
pointing out that Herman, was pushing against the legs, which is, of course, a Shido violation.
Really tiring now.
I think they're just more or less waiting for the clock to run out. And as we've seen, desperate actions at the end of a match can lose. It can lose you the match in that final second. So experienced players will continue to play, but they'll be very careful not to play desperately. And we've seen the difference between a really good throw at the final buzzer and a desperate throw at the final buzzer. Okay, golden score. Herman with 2 Shidos, Martin with 1. And Herman has the first big, nice.
Couldn't turn up.
Nice combination.
There was a moment there.
Where Hannah Martin was trying to
yeah.
counter the Uchimata. But then Herman then took that counter and turned it into an Ouchigari and took Martin just clean onto her back. Nice. So a very strong finish to a strong match.
That was a tough one.
Yeah. Very strong, well-fought match on both sides. You can see that again.
Milani Akiyama now takes to the mat. Another American in the under 63 kilo category. It's her turn to see if she can make some progress out of round 1. Martin falling at that particular hurdle. She's up against Angeles Lopez Aguilera of Spain. It's Akiyama in the white judogi, Lopez Aguilera in blue.
Akiyama favoring a left-hand grip pattern. Couldn't quite get Lopez Aguilera off balance enough. She wrote it out. grabbing it for that Uchimata. Trying to set it up. Got to get a bit more Kazushi in there, a bit more off balancing. Nice! So hopping. Did you see that? A little bit of hopping right before she came in. That was a nice little pattern. Couldn't quite get Lopez Aguilera off balance enough. She rode it out. But I think I see a good bit of. Do you know if Leilani is from Hawaii, by any chance?
I don't think so.
No.
I think I'm going to have a quick look to see who's in the chair. Well, it is not Mike Swain, and if he had sat in the chair, then it would suggest that she's out somewhere in California,
Right.
In, I think it's San Jose.
Well, that's also California.
That he hangs out.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Right. That's what you're saying.
But he's not. It's Ed Liddy.
Yeah.
Is in the chair, so maybe she's based
Well, the reason
in
I raised that
Colorado.
is because I'm seeing real Japanese influence in Akiyama's play.
Yeah.
And so I'm suspecting. Oh, nice little ashiwaza there, little dashi harai to catch Akiyama and bring her down, but Akiyama turned out of it to land on her front, so there's no score. So if anybody's watching this who isn't a judo aficionado, in order to, you can be thrown, but if you don't land on your back or on your side, it doesn't count. So one thing competitive judo players get to learn very well is how to turn out of a throw so it doesn't count in competition. Okay, so there was a nice combination, Uchimata to Koichi, but again now for a long Osotogari on Akiyama's part. Again Uchimata, but she's not really dislodging Lopez Aguilera enough to make those effective. She's definitely trying a great many techniques, but her initial off balancing isn't strong enough to really get it going. Lopez has a marvelous upright posture, and because of that, her balance is very, very secure and very solid. So 1:30 left in the match. That might be a false attack on Lopez Aguilera's part. No. Another player who focused more on the low sort of oh, nice exchange where Akiyama was trying to come in for an attack and Lopez converted it. But Akiyama turned out again. So even though there was some impact there, it was in the wrong part of the body. Lopez trying to work on an armbar. She's trying to pry Akiyama's arm out to get what's called a Jujigatame, a cross armbar, where your body is across the other person's, but Akiyama has Lopez's leg, so she couldn't quite get that pressure. Anyway, I was going to say that Lopez Aguilera has this interesting bounce. She's bouncing. And
a little bit like a boxer.
Yeah, and if she does that, oh, nice. That's a nice entry to Sewanage. And bringing Akiyama around, but not enough for the throw. And now she's going for this front sankaku, the front triangle. She probably caught Akiyama in the nose there. Anyway, if Lopez Aguilera does that bouncing on somebody who likes foot sweeps more, she can get caught. But Akiyama doesn't do that. She doesn't tend to do those low foot sweeps. Focuses more on these larger leg techniques. Now there's nice. Yeah. And so Lopez comes in with this big, powerful kosorogake, and then coming up over around Akiyama's face with the other arm, drives her back down. I'm surprised that wasn't a Ippon.
Right.
You know.
Just landed on the hip and then on to the back.
Yes, but that, but I think we've seen Ippones, though, that did that too.
Yeah.
So, there's definitely a subjective element to this as to what's a Wazari and what's an Ippon. And the person who counts is the referee. And it was enough to win the match. So there's a great example of a concerted throw at the buzzer, which won the match.
I wouldn't like us to see. I wouldn't like us to go down the route of having things like in fencing, where you have to touch them in the back, and and it registers on the computer. Where the buzzer goes.
The whole mat would have to be electrified.
Yeah. Well, at least you're back.
Well, it closes a circuit. That's how it works. The foil closes the circuit. Okay, so here we have
Victor Penalba,
who you were talking about earlier.
Yeah. Have Noel Pena of representing the International Judo Federation. It's Penalba in the white and Pena in blue. He is the number 1 seed, isn't he?
Yes. No, Penalba? No. Penalba's
number
3.
2. Number 2 is Ungvari Attila, who's the number 1 seed in the under 81 kilo category. He's already been on the mat in his second round contest. He defeated Oscar Villarreal of Mexico, and he'll face Owen Livesey in the first of the quarterfinals. Etienne Briand of Canada will face Jack Hatton of the United States of America in the second of, and Butbull has won there. Unlucky. Omba de Silva on mat 1. Now that's thrown my prediction out the window. That's that one gone. Briand and Hatton. So that's not going to happen. What was it where did I say that there could be an all? It was in this 73 kilo category that I said that there could be an all Brazil. I thought it would be Pomba de Silva and Marcello Contini. Well, that's done.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen in the 73 kilo category. Nick Del Popolo is on the mat, on mat number 1 in the under 73 kilo category. If you want to watch that one, we're going to finish off watching Penalba and Pena.
So you can really see a difference in the pace and the rhythm of the play at this weight class. Players just start to get there's just more mass to deal with. But at 81, you could still see there's still tremendous speed and power combined. So again, another Kenkaiotsu situation. I think in this case, Pena's more holding him off than really trying to draw him in. That outside grip low on the torso is just not going to be as effective as Penalba's internal position. Let's see if he gets it again. Yep. Trisha's right in with his left hand. And so that's how you determine which side he's using. It's the collar grip is the power grip. And so Penalba's really trying to grip and attack simultaneously. So there's reaching in and getting the grip. And so Pena turns very strongly to his left to try and take his right shoulder away. And comes in with an attack which is entirely unconvincing. Not really trying to throw, but just trying to disrupt the play. And yet Penalba is the one who draws this penalty. I would clearly make a lousy referee. So they both have a Shido now.
That's why I've tried as much as possible to avoid
nice
going to the middle.
Sewanage.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Textbook Sewanage. And yet Pena's just able to turn out of it. We'll have to watch that again when we get a chance. But
chance for the Osai Komi.
Really deep. Converts it to Osai Komi, as you say. But now he's locked up around the leg, which means that the pin is broken. Now the reason that is, if you don't know, is because the definition of a pin in judo is that you are holding somebody down more or less in their back, and you can get up and walk away at any time. If they lock up a part of your body like that, like your leg or your head or something like that, with that kind of crossing of the legs, you cannot get up and walk away. So that means that
You're
the
no longer in
control is
control.
not
Yeah.
all one way.
Yeah.
So the pin is broken. And so that's what toketa means. It's broken.
Very nice explanation. Thank you very much for that, Gene.
You're welcome.
I'm sure that people at home falling off their chairs, having never realised that.
I did preface that by saying, if you didn't know. So if you did know, you feel free to disregard everything I just said.
I think that was very well put. I enjoyed that. So.
Well, you know, there might be one or two, you know, new people to judo who just
Absolutely
didn't know.
certain. Well, and I think that there are a few people who've been around but didn't realise that. So, nicely put.
Okay, so here we see Penalba
Yeah,
really
there you
going
go,
after.
yeah.
Now, here's an unusual pin. He's actually a little underneath Pena, but still counted as the pin because Pena was clearly on his back. Penalba had him under control, but that's a really unusual variation on a pin.
It wasn't the strongest,
And
lucky
it clearly
for
wasn't
him, yeah.
because it was almost immediately broken.
He was able to break it. Yeah.
But it was enough. Time is out. Penalba comes away with the victory. Could we look at that Sewanage? Penalba had a beautiful Sewanage there. I'd like to see why it wasn't an Ippon. See? Okay,
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah.
That should be an Ippon.
Well, have a look at it again.
Okay. Yeah, technically, his back was not, his upper back was not touching the mat, but that's just because Penalba was holding him up.
Right, there are two things now, and there is some merit in what Gene's saying here. There are two things. There's competition judo, and then there's judo as we understand it in the club. Now, if you go to any club and someone throws you with that, you say, "Oh, well done." Absolutely,
Awesome. Yeah, it's a beautiful
smashed.
throw.
I'm smashed out of existence here, and no one's going to get up and say, "Well, you know, it wasn't really Ippon because I wasn't flat on my
Nobody's
back."
gonna say
Yeah,
that.
to just get laughed out of the dojo.
But here,
But
technically, so
the-
that was a brilliant
yeah.
call by the referee.
Yeah.
It was a brilliant call by the referee.
Before we
to
get
be
to-
able to see that.
Before we get too involved in this one, let's go down quickly to mat number 1. Because,
Oh, there's 2 seconds left.
yeah, well, we're going to see why we're going down there because Nick Del Popolo
Oh.
has just been defeated by,
Martinez Gonzalez.
Mr. Gonzalez of Spain. He got thrown on 2 occasions by the Spaniard. He missed out there.
I know he'll be disappointed in that.
We'll take a little look at the upcoming contest, which is Alexander Turner of the United States of America and Jack Smith of Great Britain. We'll stay and watch that one. a little
U.S.
bit.
versus Great Britain.
Why not? And then we can wander back
Let's have a
down
wager.
to mat 2. The last time someone wagered with me, he's sitting not too far away from us. He lost €1,000.
Oh, wow.
So I don't think you want to be going down that route.
I was thinking more of a cerveza.
Yeah, yes, it is. Hey, but they're free, by the way.
Well, that's why I was thinking of a cerveza.
Turner in the white judogi, Smith in blue. Put your money where you want.
Okay, I'm putting it on Great Britain.
Oh dear. Right, Lucenti and Sagimuki are up in a few minutes' time as well, so we may want to
Oh, nice.
keep an eye on that.
So very dynamic. So here you have a really good example of a very dynamic match at 73 kilos. Both of them really working away. Smith really working the newaza, really trying to get different things. Turner, see now Turner, here's an example. Turner is not actively trying to do something. He is simply holding Smith off. And that is perfectly acceptable in newaza. It's a very valid way to keep somebody up. And judo players are really good at it. We're really good at, not letting somebody come in and take something away. But it doesn't count as passivity.
Tomonagi, Yoko Tomonagi anyway.
Yoko
fails.
Tomonage,
Yeah.
too far out.
Yeah.
Far too far out. Nice response by Smith and almost getting this newaza. Turner has got to be careful about this. Smith clearly likes newaza and he is going to capitalize on it. He's not going to just let this be sort of a a resting period. He's not going to use it as a way to slow the match down. He's going to come after you. Now, I'm sorry, Smith is going to come after you. So the incidence of all these tomonages, which don't actually result in a throw, even though people are getting in, it makes me think that, it makes me wonder how, drawing the gi over.
But you just ducked his head underneath, forcing Turner to end up with both hands on one side. So
I see.
Smith who picks up the penalty.
Okay, nice, nice
Yeah,
injury.
yeah.
So Smith is trying to get a newaza going there. So he's really going to try that no matter where you are. So what happened there was that Smith ducked his head under Turner's hand and then forced Turner's grip to be on the same side of the body, and you can't do that.
No.
You can't force somebody to have their grip on the same side. Although that seems like kind of an archaic rule now, because it's legal now to do that. You can have your grip on the same side as long as you throw immediately, as long as you attack immediately. See, like that.
Yeah.
Nice. Beautiful. Beautiful sewanage. And for the ippon, really good. With his grip on the same side. His right hand on the sleeve, left hand on the collar. Really nice sewanage. And I think that was a nice drop. And I didn't notice his toes, but I'm willing to bet that if we look at it closely, his toes are going to see how he drives up off his feet. They were flat for a moment, but he came immediately back up, and he's driving upwards as he comes in deep and then drives up, and that's what allows him to get this really good rotation for this really beautiful impact. Pretty judo. Nice. See that? And even though Smith had his hand on the ground to try and stop it, he was so drawn in, it completely converted him. If we look at it, look at his impact and see his whole back was definitely impact to the ground.
Yeah, no doubt.
From his shoulder to his hip.
Yeah. At that point,
boom.
There was a point where he was flat on his back.
He came immediately through.
And that was
really nice.
Right, coming on to the mat now. Alonso Wong of Peru. He's up against David Tavera of Mexico. Wong in the white judogi, Tavera in blue. When Lucenti and Muki take to mat 2, we're going to wander down there. I think that's going to be a big contest. Emmanuel Lucenti is the number 3 seed. You might want to have a look at him. And Sagi Muki is a real handful. He's the one that threw the American with the big ogoshi for ippon a little bit earlier.
Right.
So you might want to have Berliner, it was.
Right.
Kel Berliner. He threw for ippon. I was given a really nice souvenir book of this region a few minutes ago. Really nice book with photographs and stuff about Cancun and the region. And it's unfortunate that I happened to buy one in the hotel yesterday for 250 pesos. Stuff like that happens, But, hey, it's a nice region to come and visit. Well, now I've got 2 books.
Well, that's 250 pesos, what, 12 bucks?
I think it's something like that, yeah. I'm not a rich man. Could have done with that, $12. 2.5 minutes left to go. No score yet. Both fighters managed to remain penalty-free. Almost got pulled apart. There's a coffee stand next to where we're sitting, and I'm going to invite Gene for a coffee. He hasn't had a coffee break yet. He's been going for an hour and a half, so maybe we'll.
Trying to get rid of me?
No, not at all. But I know there's some action coming up. We might want to. No, you're going to stay with us for this one, Lucenti and Muki. We're going to go down to mat number 2. If you want to continue watching Alonso Wong and David Tavera, just click on 1. But we're off to mat number 2 because this contest between Turcios and Mendiola has just finished, and it's Turcios who's come out the winner, a man from El Salvador. He's taken this contest, and it's going to bring up anyway, Emmanuel Lucenti of Argentina and Sagi Muki of Israel. It'll be Lucenti in the white judogi and Muki in blue. And after that, there'll be coffee time. Well, at least for Jin Shin. I'll take my coffee after that. Some big high fives and a hand slap from Lucenti.
Yep.
As Turcios leaves the mat, unbeknown to the pair. They may face each other in the next round. No, they can't. Anyway, they're different weights. Sorry. Right, here's Lucenti in the white judogi, Muki in blue. We're underway.
Oh. Lucenti is really coming in. Just, I think he knows he's got a really tough match in Muki. And Muki is just coming. So here's another thing so you get to see. So just the tremendous power that begins to be demonstrated at this weight class. And another small thing for those of you who might be new to judo or just coming in and seeing this for the first time is, you know, how important gripping is in this game. They're very reluctant to let somebody else get a good grip, and they're very careful about how they get it, because once you get that grip, once a judo player gets his hands on you and gets a good grip, it's very difficult to stop this throwing movement. And so 2 experienced judo players facing each other, they know that they have to be very careful. They're working to get this grip, and they want to try and see who can get the more advantageous position. And then from there, once it gets settled, things start to happen. And they might be on a small scale, but they have profound consequences. Okay, so yeah, see, so Muki initiated, and then Lucenti is able to respond and bring Muki down, all with just the very slightest of grips. Neither one had both hands on at the same time, and yet they're able to disrupt each other's play.
Sorry, I said that Turcios wouldn't face Lucenti because they were in different weights. What I meant to say was they're in different
brackets.
Different brackets. So it wouldn't be until the semi-final that they could come up against each other. Gene, go ahead. And
at this weight, power begins to become a real issue. Okay, so getting a grip and immediately coming in for that strong Uichigari, coming in again for Ko-Uichigari, and Lucenti able to stop both sides. And he's looking at his toe. Something that can happen quite often here is that toes can really get wrenched. Looks like he had some tape on his toe and it came off. So Muki has a very strong left-handed grip, very upright posture, very classical approach, whereas Lucenti has this more bent stature. Okay, illegal grip. He had his fingers on the inside of the sleeve. So they both have a Shido now. Okay, Lucenti coming in for a strong Sewanage. But I have a feeling that once one of these guys really lands his technique, somebody's going to fly. Okay, stepping out. 2 Shidos now. I would really hate for this match to end on a Shido, on that kind of thing. Sharon Landstreet, the referee, saying, you know, you have to start in the middle. You can't just walk over and, oh, nice! Again, very minimal grip, but a strong Kouchigari. Muki turns out of it, and Lucenti had let go, so there was no control anyway. It wouldn't have counted even if he had landed on his back. Because one part of the throw, of course, is that they're not just falling, but they're falling under control. And if you don't have a grip on them, you obviously don't have control.
Well, having moved down here to see this round 2 contest between Lucenti and Muki, we've got a quarter-final beginning on mat number 1. So unfortunately, we're going to have to jump back up to mat number 1. But we've got the world number 1 and the number 1 seed in this competition, Elvisma Rodriguez. She's up against Barbara Timo of Brazil. It's Rodriguez in the white judogi, Timo in blue. This is our first look then today.
Elvisma Rodriguez, yes. And at 70 kilos, I think.
And just as we move from mat 2, Muki ends up throwing Lucenti for Wazari with 35 seconds left to go.
Oh.
Yeah, Rodriguez, when she first made an appearance on the scene,
nice.
Showed signs of nice judo, but we weren't sure whether that would continue. She's the real deal.
Yeah. So that was a nice Sewanage attempt by Timo, and then responded, but not effective. And then Rodriguez tried to come in with a shimiwaza, the Jigoku Jime.
By the way, Lucenti has come back with Wazari to tie things up. So it's Wazari apiece, and they go into golden score.
And remember, you can watch that match
just
if
click
you
on
want
2.
to. Just click on 2. Or if you're technologically facile enough, you can watch both. Okay.
I'm always
Rodriguez
amazed.
trying again.
I'm always amazed when it's the Paris Grand Slam where we have 5 mats that there are people who've got 5 browsers
5 windows open.
Yeah,
Right.
that's a bit much, isn't it?
But that's the thing about judo, and for many, you're watching one match, and then something on the other mat catches your eye, and you look away, and that's exactly when the throw happens. So Rodriguez, see, they're both coming in, and they're coming in for a very close play.
Just to finish off on the story between Lucenti and Sagimuki, the uchimata that Sagimuki employed to throw Lucenti, which originally gave him Wazari, was changed, and Ippon was given to Lucenti because during the execution of that uchimata,
he dived.
He dived. He went on his head to complete the technique.
So, for those of you who don't know, mind if I go off on another one of my dissertations?
Go ahead. We're watching Elvisma Rodriguez and Barbara Timo, but in between we're going to catch up with Jean.
So one thing that is very central to the play of judo is safety. This is intrinsically dangerous activity. You're throwing people high degrees of speed, power, and drive, and if you land badly, you can be very, very badly injured or even killed if you land badly enough. And of course, that's one of the original, points of judo as a self-defense, is that if you throw somebody, you can incapacitate them entirely. And that's what an ippon is meant to symbolize, signify, is that you have thrown somebody with such force and such speed and such control that you've entirely incapacitated them. However, something that we want to try to avoid is any sort of serious injury. We want people, at the same time, we have this idea of jitakyoe, which is mutual welfare and benefit. And we want everybody to walk off the mat in the same condition in which they entered. And so we want to take care of one another, and we want to make sure that nobody is actually injured. And what has happened over time, though, is that as I mentioned before, athletes get really good at turning out of a throw in order to avoid being losing the match. Something else that has occurred is that people learned how to commit to a throw in a way that they would dive head first in order to get the maximum amount of inertia invested into the technique and transfer that into their opponent. The problem with that is that if you dive head first and you land badly on the top of your head, you can break your neck. And there have been a few serious injuries where that has occurred. So it was entirely outlawed in judo. You were not allowed to dive head first in order to prosecute a throw or to avoid a fall. That's why bridging is illegal, because it's intrinsically dangerous. It places far too much risk on the neck. And so that's apparently what happened in that throw. Muki dove head first in order to get that kind of drive into Lucenti, and even though it was a good throw, it was illegally applied, and so he lost the match.
That is what happened. Very well put, Gene. I hope everyone enjoyed that explanation. Yeah. During which time Barbara Timo's picked up 2 penalties, and we've got very little time left on the clock, in normal time anyway.
Oh, Rodriguez is trying to bring it around. So which one of them do you think is putting up the better fight here?
Well, Barbara Timo's had to, step up.
Rodriguez is ranked #1 in the world.
Exactly, and fight at quite a few, places above her own ranking. So, all well done to her. See, but immediately into the attack. So this is okay.
Okay.
The minute the second the hand went over, she was on the attack.
She was on the attack.
Didn't work out.
No.
Tried again. Didn't work out.
Right.
Timo went to ground. There must have been a split second when she wasn't attacking, and you could have stopped it and said, "Hey, nah, it's stupid." So just a little.
Right.
It's just how much.
Right. And it was clearly in sequence. It wasn't. There was no pause.
Yeah.
There was no pause.
Yeah.
So what we're referring to there is Timo draws the penalty there for passivity, which with less than 30 seconds into the golden score, I find that a little questionable, but
well, there's 20 seconds, isn't it? You get given 20 seconds to attack. So you gave her 27. But she didn't have a chance.
But she never had a chance. I mean, Rodriguez is right on
all over her. That's harsh.
Right. I think that was a little harsh.
Yeah, that is harsh. That is harsh.
So anyway, what we're referring to is that if you get that overhand grip and you crush somebody down and you just hold them there, that's illegal. You can't just shut somebody down. But of course, Rodriguez was not doing that. She was immediately on her, all over like white on rice.
On the mat now, Sally Conway of Great Britain, the bronze medalist from the Olympic Games in Rio last year. She faces Sara Rodriguez of Spain. It's Conway in the white judogi, Rodriguez in blue. And the winner of this contest will face Elvis Mar Rodriguez in the first of the semi-finals. Hyun Suk Hee is the referee in the middle.
Well, I was going to go get my coffee, but this looks like a really good match.
Sally just needs to bring that right leg over now,
still
put some
get
pressure.
yeah.
Yeah,
There you go.
Because now
so she's going for that cross arm bar.
Pressure's going to be on that arm.
If she brings it up towards the head, Bring it up, bring it up, bring it up towards the head. There you go. She's leaning to her right, trying to get that angle, because if you pull straight, it's very difficult to break that defensive grip. And Rodriguez is turning over.
But the
she
leg
turns
is
her
out
again.
now.
Yeah.
Oh, and now she
but
turns
she's
to
out
the
of it.
front.
She's in the
good
wrong.
defense.
Yeah, good defense.
Nice. Quite a few calls of mate, but I'm looking at Hyun and I'm actually I'm glad that she didn't call mate. It was nice,
it was good. They were continuing.
All progressive, yeah.
Wait.
Yeah. Well, and Rodriguez picks up the penalty.
Penalty for passivity.
For non-combativity. She hasn't done anything.
Except fight like crazy to get out of an armbar. Like, what?
Oh, dear.
You want to go have another conversation over there?
That's exactly what we were talking about.
Oh my gosh! She just fought off an armbar like crazy.
See, these are the things that you want to take. You want to take these little clips, mark them. You know.
Yeah.
Say this is.
Is this right?
Yeah.
Look what you're not taking into account. I think that's the thing I would draw. It's like, look what not taking into account in the contest. So the thing is, we're having fun with it and we're laughing around here, but if you're a player on the mat and all of a sudden you have a yellow card up there, that just puts this extra added bit of pressure on you.
And there was zero chance of her doing anything about that.
She was, she was not doing the same thing that Smith was doing earlier, which was to be a turtle. She was not turtling. She was actively working to get out of that armbar.
What we could do is to have a look from, the very first second to see whether they were doing what they did on the other occasion,
right? And
to really penalise the 40 seconds before,
right,
that Newaza exchange, and say, we would have given you this when you were standing up. We would have stopped and called mate and given you the penalty, but we saw that your opponent.
But okay, and I understand that, but that doesn't. I don't buy that, because it doesn't take into account the subsequent, action, which should, obviate that whole need. It's, if you were going to apply it, you should have applied it then. Okay, osai komi. Here we have osai komi. So Rodriguez, Sally Conway has really been working the Newaza.
Non-stop, eh?
Non-stop. And Rodriguez is really trying to get out of this pin. She is not just lying there, but Conway this is called, that is called Kuzure Kamishi Hogatame, a variation on an upper four-corner hold. Very difficult to get out of when you know what you're doing, because your hips are so far away from the person being pinned. Point, so it's very hard to use your own center of power to move the person who's pinning you.
The other thing with the Kamisho Gatami is the range of movement that
you have a lot of dynamic
that Tori has in being able to cover any
really
movement from Muki. Yeah.
So it requires a lot of movement from the person on the bottom, and if you don't get it going, you're not going to get out. And you can't just bench press yourself out. Just having simple power on the bottom isn't enough. Okay, I'll go get that coffee.
Okay. Enjoy. Well, I hope you're enjoying the comments from Jean Shin. They're plentiful, and they're well informed. It's nice to have him along. Right, we've got another quarterfinal coming up here. Andrea Leszki of Slovenia is on the mat at the moment. This is in the under 63 kilo category. I'll give you a rundown of the lineup for the under 70 kilo category semi-final when I can. But it's Leszki of Slovenia in the white judogi and Cristina Cabana Perez of Spain in blue. single Wazari on the board for Andrea Leszki. That's the lead at the moment with a little over a minute and a half left to go. Cabana Perez not out of it by any means. Still with a chance there. Just looks as though Cabana Perez may have picked up a cut. A little bit of a nosebleed, that's all. A bump to the nose, a little bit of blood that needs tidying up. There's a chance for Andrea Leszki to catch her breath. Meanwhile, I can tell you that Javier Ramirez of Spain is on mat number 2. He's up against Martin Hojak of Slovenia. There's no score in that contest as yet. There's a little over 2.5 minutes left to go, but Cabana Perez is making her way back to the mat now. Last few seconds as Cabana Perez tries that Setemi-waza, but it's a weak one. Leszki's able to defend against it. There's no score on time. He's going to run out here. Leszki with the single score of Wazari, able to squeeze her way past Cristina Cabana Perez of Spain. It'll be Leszki that we'll see in the semi-final, the first of the semi-final. Now, our opponent is going to come from the upcoming contest. That's Caitlin Quadros of Brazil. She faces Ljubljana Piovasana of Great Britain. It's Quadros in the white judogi, Piovasana in blue. Vincent Drouot of France is the referee in charge of this one. just a little bit bent over at the moment. Ljubljana Pievasana in her stance against Caitlin Quadros. Extreme right-sided stance that Quadros adopts, just almost only getting to see one side of her body that faces Pievasana, just getting pulled around a little bit there, the British fighter. She's been on the circuit for quite some time, Caitlin Quadros. Worked her way through the weights as well, that little left-sided Tseonagi effort from Quadros, and Pievasana is able to avoid getting caught there. Two penalties picked up by Pievasana. She's got some problems against Quadros here. As I say, a very experienced fighter, the Brazilian. Picked up a bronze medal back in Beijing. Way back in 2008 now, seems like a long time ago. That was under 57 kilos, and moved up to the under 63 kilo category a couple of years ago. Third penalty picked up by Pievasana, not able to work things out against Quadros. She eventually picked up a third penalty, and that was enough for Quadros to move through to the next round. We've got another quarterfinal, this time in the under 81 kilo category coming up. Ungvari Attila of Hungary faces Owen Livesey of Great Britain. It will be Ungvari in the white judogi, Livesey in blue. Livesey finds himself up against the #1 seed here, Ungvari Attila. We were expecting to see his brother compete today in the under 73 kilo category. That didn't happen.
What a great name that is.
Attila, yeah.
Ungvari.
He was always going to be a fighter, wasn't he? With a name like that. He couldn't grow up to be
Could have been a musician.
violinist or something. Yeah, that was the first thing that came to mind. Yeah.
Oh, nice! Oh, Chigari.
Yeah, he got caught there. Couldn't turn off it, could he?
Yeah.
He tried to, but...
And I think he turned because Ungvari didn't have any grip on his body at all. He had his arm, and he came in for this beautiful deep ouchigari, but because he didn't have his body at all, Livsy's able to turn out of it and just go straight to his front.
So 2.5 minutes left to go. Ungvari leads by Wazari.
So there you see.
That was inventive, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was trying to break the grip and get into Uchimata at the same time. So
I mean, it's really clever because
it was clever because you're not strictly allowed to do that.
he was in trouble
Yeah.
as far as the grip is concerned. But what he didn't want to do was to pick up a penalty
Right.
for a false attack.
Right.
So he put one in that actually had Ungvari hopping.
Right.
Not necessarily in any real danger of ever being
But it was a nice
thrown,
use of
but it was
a
just
big grip
enough to
against
say,
him.
Okay,
right.
that was inventive.
Yeah,
well
that's
done.
good. So this is a really good match to showcase how both of these players are clearly very powerful, very fast,
Yeah,
but
strong.
also very flexible, physically and intellectually. You know, that took a lot of flexibility. You know, in how what are you gonna do in this situation? You have to find an inventive way to get out of it. Ungvari, I think he clearly has the reach advantage. He has the height advantage, but that's not always an advantage. You know, Livsy, as I was saying earlier, you know, shorter players could use their shorter stature to get inside. Oh, beautiful low again, ouchigari, but again, Owen Livsy is able to turn out of it. I think again for the same reason. Ungvari has this amazing facility for getting into those low leg attacks, but he doesn't have a grip on the body at the same time. Okay, trying for a shimiwaza, coming in. Does he have it? You can't tell from this angle. Nope. At least he didn't have it there. Yeah, we're seeing a lot of that Jigokujime.
Yeah, it's very popular.
It's a great turn.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
really beautiful to watch, and it's once you're in it too, it's you're all tied up. There's a reason it's called the Hell Strangle.
Last few seconds here, time enough for Livsy maybe to launch one really big, powerful effort.
Yeah, but unless it better be really powerful. A little push. In the midst of all this, a little push like that, you think, what's the big deal? But, you know, it's funny how something like that, outside the bounds of normal interaction, can carry a lot of meaning. Yep, you stepped out.
Yeah.
Okay, and so disappointing conclusion for Livsy, but a very strong match for Ungvari, who really did have a lot of very strong,
overall
strong entries, really powerful. And it's interesting to see somebody in that height coming in and doing these really low ashiwaza leg attacks. And very effectively, too. If he just keeps his hands in there like we've seen in a couple of these others, where the one yesterday where guy drove his head into the shoulder and kept that sleeve while he was doing that low Sutemi waza, it was just beautiful.
On the mat now, Etienne Briand of Canada faces Jack Hatton of the United States of America. It's Briand in the white judogi, Hatton in blue in this North America matchup.
Mm-hmm. Okay, another Jigokujime. converting to more conventional okuri erijime. Sliding collar strangle. Really going after this. And you see how he's got it locked into the neck, but it's a bad angle right now, as Hatton has been able to get down lower. Oh, but Briand is really holding on to it. He's able to pull. Okay. It's interesting how Hatton popped right up there, and Briand was the one to get slow up, even though Hatton was the one getting choked. Okay, I'm going to hook your leg. That's interesting. That's an interesting choice. While it's a threat, it's also leaving you vulnerable. You're on one foot for that length of time. A really facile player is going to be able to take that leg and turn it into something else as Briand drops into a sewanage. Now Hatton is the one trying to get some choking technique going, some shimewaza. But it's not nearly as solid. As he was dropping to the side, what he was trying to do there was to draw the collar of the gi, the jacket, across Briand's neck in order to apply pressure, but it didn't work. So both struggling to get that grip. You see how Briand has that pistol grip. Oh, nice. Briand dropping into a sewanage, but his legs were way out of position. There's more of a shortstop of Hatton's movement. But Hatton's the one who draws the penalty. Even though Hatton just attacked there. So the reaching that Hatton is doing with his left leg is clearly not convincing the referee that he's really trying to come in and do anything. And that just strikes me as a huge vulnerability. You know, if Briand had a good solid grip and Hatton reaches out with his leg like that, there's several different things that he could do. Of course, Hatton may be leaving that out as kind of a bait. Maybe he's expecting something. It's quite possible. That's another very fundamental tactic in martial arts in general, and in judo in particular, is to leave something open, to let something open out there and draw an opponent in to try to attack it, and then use that movement to then throw them. Oh, nice drop into sewanage, bringing Hatton around, but not enough for a score. And again, Hatton draws another penalty for passivity.
Is Hatton the inheritor of Travis Stevens then? He's taking over his spot.
At this
81 kilos, yeah. I can't see Travis having another roll of the dice and going to Tokyo.
He's had a very hard road. I've never seen people as bandaged as him sometimes after a match.
I think Hatton's going to pick up
how
another
old is
penalty.
Travis now?
I'm going to have a look now.
Okay, third penalty for Hatton. So Briand walks away with the win.
Yeah, I mean, he could have another go, Stevens. He's 31.
Yeah.
So he'll be getting up there, but it'll be painful, I think.
Is he ranked at the moment? Where is he ranked? World rank position? 16?
16. Is he
very respectable.
However, I mean, a lot of that is going to be on the back of his silver medal at the Olympic Games. It's going to be, hundreds of points up there.
Oh, here's Bootball from Israel.
We haven't seen him since Rio. So that's August of 2016. We're in June now, so it's 10 months. And we haven't seen him. I'm not sure whether he's going to go for it.
So this is the quarterfinal at 73 with Tohar Boutbo from Israel versus Martinez Gonzalez from Spain. Football is the #1 seed. So here we have, again, the Kenkayotsu situation with Football taking the left side grip and Gonzalez trying for the right, but he's, instead of really trying to drive in on the collar, he's settled for this. Oh, now he's driven up. He had really anchored himself lower on the under the armpit inside the torso of the gi, which is it's a solid hold, but it's hard to pull somebody off balance from there. It doesn't have nearly the effect that it does as pulling on the collar. Simply because you're too far out. Okay, Football dropping into a Tomonage position. But not really able to get any elevation at all. It was nice and deep though. Okay. Football driving the exchange. Grip fighting in judo is called kumikata. And you can see how Football is really working for a strong left-hand grip. He's got it right at Gonzalez's clavicle. And he's getting his right hand deep into that sleeve. Gonzalez reaching up over the back now. And coming in for Ochigari, but not disturbing Football at all. So it was a real attack, but it just wasn't effective. One thing also for newer watchers, earlier I was talking a bit about gripping and how much power there is. It has a tremendous toll on the fingers. It can really, really wear on your fingers, and so that's why you see so much tape on judo players' fingers. It's not because they're injured, it's because they're actually generating so much power that it's more than the tissues can sometimes take. So they need that extra support to make sure that they don't get injured. Nice drop Sewanage over for Iwazari. No, not Iwazari. Oh, I thought for sure it was going to be, but I guess he turned out enough that it wasn't even Iwazari, even though he's fully in the air, completely rotated.
That was nice, yes.
Nice deep Ochigari. Really pretty.
Sold him, didn't he?
Very nice. From the left-hand grip. Left foot driving in deep. Keeping that tension on the body and the sleeve. If we see a replay, you're going to see his left hand really powerfully on the collar and his right hand really tightly controlling Gonzalez's sleeve so that there's no way he could turn out of that. And he tried, but Football's able to really drive in deep with that left foot and then just drive him straight to his back.
For me, it's the setup from the previous technique. He goes over, but avoids getting caught. And then he sells him on exactly the same thing and then takes him in the opposite direction.
Brilliant. I agree. And so...
Beautifully done.
Really
Beautifully
nice.
done.
And so, and it's a throw in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so initially he was doing Sewanage, but this time he did Ochigari. Ochigari, the major inner cut. See, look at that. Really beautiful. And so, see how he's got that? Yeah, he's really driving with the right. I'm sorry, with the left, and then holding with the right, and then really getting deep and driving in with his shoulder. Okay.
We've got Alexander Turner of the United States of America and Alonso Wong of Peru on mat 1 at the moment, a quarterfinal in the under 73 kilo categories. Turner in the white judogi, Wong in blue.
And we watched Turner do that beautiful throw earlier. Okay, there he did a nice little turn for Iwazari. The crowd really thought that should be Nippon. But of course, what they think is, and what we think isn't really the key. But Mr. Wolf, the referee. Turner hit that beautiful sewanage earlier in the day. And today he did another sort of, it was a more unconventional throw to turn Wong over. Showing some nice flexibility or some variety on Turner's part. A lot of judo players, competitive judo players, bridging.
It's all over.
Wong bridged on that last technique. And so, because he bridged, he automatically loses the match. Again, that's originated as a safety issue because we don't want people bridging off their heads, putting their necks at risk. But it also means that if you had to bridge, you would have been thrown anyway. So.
Well, we can go down to mat number 2 because there is another quarter-final taking place there. Vivian Herrmann of Germany is on the mat at the moment. This is in the under 63 kilo category.
Herrmann just had a nice little elevation there with some uchimata, but she didn't quite have the. She didn't have the kazushi. She didn't have the off balance. So even though she got Lopez in the air, Lopez Aguilera in the air, she couldn't get her going.
Yeah, and Vivian Herrmann is up against Angeles Lopez Aguilera of Spain. It's Herrmann in the white judogi, Lopez Aguilera in blue.
Sorry, jumped the gun.
Sorry? No, not at all.
Okay, and Herrmann just picked up a Shido, but for finger in the sleeve. So there's a good example of, okay, get a penalty, didn't stop the action, just do it while they're still playing, no reason to stop them. A lot of dynamic movement. And then trying for a sewanage, but hands were way out of position, no way to finish that. Both players really scrambling for position. Lopez drops, but again, no. A key element of judo throwing is it's not just about power. It's not about strength, although those do come into play. But the major quality of a throw is that you're able to get somebody off balance and then use that precarious position to throw them. And it can happen when somebody's attacking you. It can happen when they're defending against you. It can be done in a variety of ways. But it's not simply about power. But if you don't have it, the throw doesn't occur. It just doesn't, you get instances like that where somebody comes in and they might have a really deep attack, but if they don't have that off balance, a throw doesn't happen. And more often than not, action just stops dead. So, okay, so there's a little example where if Lopez had been able to get more off balance, Herrmann might have gone over backwards, but because she didn't, she came in the attack and didn't have a good grip with her hands. Herrmann was able to just drive forwards instead. So Lopez really liking this overhand grip. She can attack forwards or backwards, and there she goes forwards into a sewanage, really trying to bring her around, but Herrmann's able to spin out of the way and out of the way of the driving angle. Now she's working to try and get a turn, trying to turn Lopez over. But here Lopez pretty much just resisting, not really attacking. So just as an example, you're not required to attack on the bottom. Oh, the referee saying, you have to back up. Okay. Cautioning the coach. And checking with Herrmann. A lot going on with the referee there. Lopez really driving, trying to catch up to Herrmann in these last few seconds, but not able to do it.
Vivian Herrmann of Germany it is who makes her way into the semi-final. Now we're going to go down to mat number 1 because we've got another chance to see the world number 1, Elvisma Rodriguez. She's on in the semi-final of the under 70 kilo category. She's up against Sally Conway of Great Britain. It's Rodriguez in the white judogi, Conway in blue, and here's Jean Shin.
So sometimes what you see in matches is you might notice that these players they're much closer together. Their torsos are much closer together. They're not playing at arm's length like some of the other matches do. And so this is, there was a real danger there of one player getting their hips in the right position to take the other over, either in a lift or in by cutting a leg. And the reason for playing in close like that is because you could get a lot of power by bringing your hips in close and tight and using that to drive the other person up or around. But the problem is that the other player has exactly the same opportunity. And so things get very tense when you can play in that close. And so what both players are trying to do now here is, they're trying to get their grip and draw the other player in tight. They're kind of going back and forth at it right now. So a lot of action is actually happening at the sleeve's end as their shoulders come together. So there's that little kicks at the feet. And they're not really kicking. What they're doing is called sweeping or hooking. Two different kinds of motion. A sweep is when you draw your foot and you move the other person's foot from where it was. A hook is where you reach in and you hold it in place. You can also prop a foot. And when you do that in combination with off balance, you can really throw somebody off. So there was a little tiny one there that Rodriguez did with her right leg. Catch Sally going with, and then she tried to bring her forwards. And Conway was enough off balance that she was just able to drive her right now. But not enough control for calling any kind of throw. And these things can happen very fast, and they can be very tiny motions, but they can be really profound in their effect. See these little nudges. They're both, and it's a way of, and a lot of things can be happening. You could be, trying to move somebody. Oh, a little bit of pushing out there. I wonder if the referee might consider that Rodriguez might have been pushing. No? Okay. Well, I thought Rodriguez might have been pushing Conway out. So, just to finish the thought, these small movements with the feet, tapping at the other person's base of support, a lot of things can be happening. You can be really trying to disrupt or dislodge that base. You could just be trying to establish a sense of where they are. You could be establishing a pattern that you're giving them a chance to expect, and then later changing that pattern suddenly. Ooh, nice deep attempt to do tomonage and almost raising Rodriguez, but not quite enough. Rodriguez drops into newaza, but it's really just holding on, not trying to do anything at the moment. Conway had a really solid lock on Rodriguez's leg. And so all that footwork can just be one element of a match. That's all happening at one end. But then at the other end, you've got all the handwork, all of the gripping that's going on. And in between, you have all of the shifting of balance and the type of movement. Okay, that's another tomonage. Tomonage means circle throw in judo. Okay, no score, no penalties. Both players working. Oh, false attack. All right. As I was saying, that was another attempt at tomonage, but it wasn't really convincing. In any case, it doesn't decide the match at this point. That was in regulation time. Tomonage means circle throw in judo, and it's one of the 4 classifications of throws, a sacrifice where you throw yourself down in order to throw your opponent. See, gripping. Rodriguez is really getting that grip low, and I think she's really riding the edge of just shutting Conway out. Conway is clearly struggling with that. Rodriguez is attacking, but she's doing almost as much to just hold Conway out as she is to attack with that grip. And I say that because she's holding it so low and straight. Now see, that's more of a pull right there. See how she's bent and she's really holding it down. Oh, nice! Nice, Sumigaishi, really coming underneath. Really good example of taking somebody's posture and position and using it to your own advantage. That's what judo is about, where throughout the entire match, Rodriguez was really adopting this very strong bent over posture, and Conway went right underneath it, came up underneath it, used that downward drive that Rodriguez had used, and converted that into her own drop as she went into Sumigaishi, this throw where you bring your leg up in between your opponent's leg and bring them right over. Let's look at that again. Right. Okay, so let's look at the next match. We've got Cabana Perez from Spain versus Provinciana from Great Britain. Nice Ouchigari. Beautiful for Wazari. Oh, I think that should be Nippon. Let's see. The referee still thinks, okay, clearly it was all right. So, okay, fix your gi. So she comes in, just beautiful, Kouchi Makikomi. I don't know why that. She's clearly on her. Now she did land initially on her hips. Oh, but I guess it was called a Nippon and then roll back. So they eventually called it back and said that was a Nippon. So, hey, maybe I could make a referee after all. All right. Shall we stay on this mat? No, yeah, it's a semifinal. Are we on mat 1? Yes. Andrea Haleski versus Caitlin Quadros. Slovenia in white. Quadros from Brazil in blue. This is the semifinal. 63 kilos. Oh, nice, Deashi Harai. Nice Deashi Harai by Quadros, bringing Leski down. I think they might look, they're calling it a Wazari, but that's another one that she might have landed straight on her side. Really good Ashiwaza, foot technique. So there you see that low sleeve grip, really gripping down low and keeping it down. See, they're holding on. They're not supposed to hold it like that. They're not supposed to hold it for that length of time without attacking. And I think that we're seeing this new rule application in action, evolving in action. One thing that's incumbent upon the person in the lead is that they have to keep trying to throw. You cannot just hold on to your lead. You must keep actively working to end the match. And that's the ideal in judo, is that it doesn't go the full time. Somebody throws the other person, somebody pins them, somebody chokes them. Nice turn. Nice turn on Quadros' part. Why are they stopping? Oh, I guess it was across the jaw. So while a choke is what we're trying to do, if the gi gets pulled straight across the jaw, the lower face, they stop the match because it's dangerous. You can really wreck up a person's face that way. And one thing we are careful on. Oh, nice! Nice. Leski reached out for a ashiwaza, and Quadros responded with another foot technique and caught her again, but not enough for a point. So there was a nice little change up. Leski's coming in for this hip throw, trying to come in, and then she switched in another direction, but it didn't work. So one thing about these little leg techniques is that, one of the reasons they're so dangerous is because they're astonishingly effective. When you're swept really well and your foot just disappears from underneath you, you hit the mat just as hard as you do with all these other big hip throws where you're coming way around. The difference is that you go straight down, and it's quite an impact. Picture what it's like to step on be walking along and suddenly step on a piece of ice, and all of a sudden your foot just comes right out from underneath you and you just go boom, straight down. It's like that, except somebody is trying to drive you into the ground.
At the same time.
Possibly land on you. So if we get a moment, I'd like to look at that. We had an upset where Rodriguez lost. Rodriguez got thrown with this beautiful sumigaishi. I'd like to see that.
Yeah, it was a slowly developing Yoko Sotemiwaza that eventually had Rodriguez coming down onto her side. There wasn't any doubt about her having been caught, and it would have been a Yuko in old times, but we don't have a Yuko. Anything that was Yuko is now Wazari, and that was enough to take Sally Conway through.
But it was just beautifully done. I'd like to
it was very
get
neat.
a chance to look at it again.
We may have to wait for the break for that.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
afraid.
Oh, nice. Quadros trying to get that. She keeps trying for the shimiwaza, but she needs to get it under the chin. And she's a player of this experience. She's very aware of the clock. She's really more playing out the time. But she had that beautiful foot sweep earlier. Enough for the Wazari. So Ketlin Quadros from Brazil wins over Andrea Leski from Slovenia for the semifinal at 63 kilos. So she'll be advancing to the finals, Quadros. I think we'll want to go to mat 2 to pick up the quarterfinal.
Yeah, Marcello Contini of Brazil is up against Eduardo Arroyo of Mexico. Let's go down to mat number 2 and have a look at that then. See what's happening. Contini leads by Wazari with a little over 2.5 minutes left to go. It's Contini in the white judogi, Aruyo in blue.
Oh, so he's really working on the sankaku, and he's got the hook around. He really drove that right leg around, and now he's got it so deep. That's a very, very uncomfortable place to be. Araujo is in a tough spot, but he's doing a good job. You see how he's holding onto that leg to prevent the turn. He knew he couldn't get out, so he's just holding onto that leg, and he's saying, if I don't get turned, if I hold on just long enough, I'll be able to get through this. And he did. And Contini has both a Wazari and a Shido. There's quite a height difference here. Araujo just get penalized for an illegal grip.
Right, my Mexican friend has just come to tell me it's Araujo.
Araujo.
Yeah.
Araujo.
I wasn't sure, but I thought, hang on, let me just check that. Araujo. Well, he's got a minute and 20 odd left on the clock to come and do something.
Oh! Drop. Yoko Sutemiwaza. Yoko Okotoshi.
Well, I suppose they're going to look at his attempt to avoid.
And again with
and
again the bridging perhaps. Yeah. Araujo might have tried to bridge out of that. But again, now he was unable to prevent the turn. That really tight sankaku. Oh, but turned through it. Wow. Now that takes core strength.
But he could still tap out here. Where he was. What? Oh. No, it can only be that they're looking at the. Here, look. That's a bridge. He bridged.
Okay, we're looking at the main screen, which.
He spun off his head.
It is not for us to.
Yeah, they just showed the replay on the big screen. I can't be the only one that's wondering why it is that wasn't called as a bridge.
That's why we're sitting over here. Okay. Well, in any case, 24 seconds left to go. It looks like Contini is going to walk away with it anyway, because Araujo is not getting anything effective moving. Contini is doing. See, he's not. Okay, he is definitely not attacking. He's just holding on. See, look at that left hand. He's holding on to the end of that sleeve. He is not attacking. He's simply shutting Araujo down. That should definitely be a penalty.
Well, plenty of things went his way then. Contini, mind you, Araujo did get away with that
bridge,
rolling off his head. I can't call it a bridge because they didn't give it, but he appeared to spin off his head in an attempt to avoid going on his back.
Neither player thrilled with that match, but that's what happens sometimes. Okay, coming up.
Another quarter-final then. Patrick Dawson of Great Britain faces Javier Ramirez of Spain. It's Dawson in the white judogi, Ramirez in blue.
Both very tall, lanky players. Lots of reach. Dawson really using it to both reach in terms of his hands and his legs, hands, his feet. So he's reaching out and he's, nice drawing in by Spain. Try and get that Koshiwaza going, that Koshiguruma. Now they're drawing each other and see how they had started. Oh, nice, bringing the leg up. See how much of a threat that is. It took him down so that Dawson could start working on this mat work. Newaza. But not enough progress to keep it going. Dawson clearly has he's driving this match. He's doing these little attacks, these low-level Ashiwaza threats. I'd say they're more threats than attacks. Oh, but Ramirez then drops into a Sewanage. But I think it was more to disrupt Dawson's initiative. Because Dawson, it's all going Dawson's way at the moment. But there we go. That was a really nice Sewanage. And one done with the grip way out at the hands, way out at the ends of the sleeve. It's really pretty when that happens. It's very hard to do, but when you hit it at just the right time, you can really bring somebody over. And it was enough for a Wazari. Dawson turned out of it, enough to keep it from being a fully pwn. Do it a third time, but that one, Dawson was clearly ready for it that time. Ramirez wasn't able to get it anyway. So Dawson continuing to drive with a little Kouchigari, bringing Ramirez down. Getting a grip on the same side, switching off. Dawson has a higher incidence of techniques, but Ramirez are larger. Ramirez's attacks are larger. And he had that one, which is, of course, the only point scoring one so far. But Ramirez is definitely, now he's really holding Dawson off. He's making Dawson work really hard to reach in, which puts him in a threat like that. Exactly right. Where, you know, you make your opponent really reach, really drive in, and then you use it. And I think that's what he's been working towards all along. And it definitely worked there. Not enough for a Wazari, apparently, but that kind of thing can really shake you up. Even if you don't get a point for it, you know. So let's see if Dawson continues to drive. Now Dawson's in a tough spot. He is behind on points, and he's been thrown because he's driving so hard, and he has to drive. He has to do something. Of course, Ramirez also has to continue to work to throw. Another one of these Tomonages that something I thought about earlier, I'm not sure okay, false attack, is that Tomonage has become a device rather than a serious throw too often. And that's a shame because it's a beautiful throw.
Well, it certainly looks that way in this competition. You know, we've seen so many examples of it when they're using it as an out for some other, you know, difficulty that they may perceive that they've got, and they just throw in that Tomonage. I'd like to see him try that when he's got 2 penalties on the board.
Yeah, right.
But he can afford to do it when he didn't have one.
And he was making sure that he wasn't going to penalize for. So, well, anyway.
Well, he knew he was penalty free with 20 odd seconds left to go. He throws that in. It's going to take 1 or 2 seconds. A second when they're on the ground. then they call them mate. He's burnt 3 or 4 seconds. He knows that 4 seconds is the minimum amount of time that you need to get from one point to another to grab hold, take a throw, and then throw. So you're looking at 8 seconds off the 20. He's only got 12 seconds to deal with then. You know, he won't get called for non-combativity in 12 seconds if he throws one attack in. You know, all of that goes through his mind. This is what we're talking about tactics. Does he genuinely mean to employ Tomo Inagi as an effort to through his opponent? And if he does, then even if it's a failed one, they won't penalize him because it's a genuine effort.
But if he doesn't throw it, if he doesn't really sell it,
if he doesn't sell it, then he's going to get penalized.
Yeah.
The difficulty with that is that there are occasions when someone has genuinely tried to throw, they've got it wrong, their feet don't get there, they're a long way away, and it is failed. It's a failed attack, and it's called a false one.
Right.
This is what we.
But in that case, I think it was a good call. I think that was a false attack.
Oh, that one.
That was a false attack.
That was fine. Yeah.
So here we have
that one. Right on the mat now, Amanda Oliveira of Brazil faces Roxanne Taymans of Belgium, but we're going to go down to mat number 1. We're going to pick up the action in the semi-final in the under 81 kilo between Ungvari Attila of Hungary. He faces Etienne Briand of Canada. Ungvari in the white judogi, Briand in blue. We join the contest with a minute and a half left to go. Briand has picked up a single Shido and there's no score, and here is Jean Shin.
Thank you, Sheldon. So as we saw before, Ungvari is a very powerful player. Etienne Briand really working to try and come into the outside, and oh, nice. Just driving Ungvari down, but because he only sat down, it doesn't count. It doesn't count as anything. Part of your back has to make contact with the mat, or your side at least. And, sitting down doesn't cut it. But still, it was a good drive. So here you have, again, this Ungvari really working that low Ouchigari. Ouchigari, meaning major inner cut. You're using a big motion to reach inside your opponent's leg and cut it out from underneath them. I'm sorry, that was a Kouchigari because he was using the opposing leg. Okay, gotten poked there. Nice try by Briand to do Sewanage. Not enough to pull anything over. 6 seconds left in the match. Both no score, no technical score. Both players working, but not really risking anything at the last few seconds before they go into golden score. Both players have a Shido. So they're exactly even at this moment. If either one were to be penalized at this point, the match would be over. Ungvari really driving it at the beginning. Ungvari has a very dynamic, aggressive style. Briand has a quieter, more receptive judo. That doesn't make it any less powerful. Okay, big entry by Ungvari, but Briand turning it and really threatening a throw, and Ungvari had to drop very quickly to keep from being thrown. And that's exactly what I was just talking about. Ungvari has the aggressive style, but it's not always effective. Really good judo can take an aggressive action. The whole point is to be able to take an aggressive action and to really capitalize on it. Like that. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Really nice. Again, Ungvari taking this big overhand grip with his right hand, and Brian turning it into a beautiful Ippon Sewanage. Just right. Exactly right. And Ugvari recognizing, yeah, good throw. Good job.
Took it well, didn't he?
Oh, he did take it well. And you have to. I mean, when you're thrown like that, because, it was just good judo. I mean, of course, it's never fun to lose a match. But when you're thrown beautifully, it's just beautiful.
Yep.
I think we can see that again.
Much of a doubt about that one. Oh, dear. Now, we're not going to stick around too long for Gonzalez and Wong because there is a semi-final about to take place down on mat number 2. So let's wander down to mat number 2 and have a look at Gemma Howell of Great Britain. She's up against Maria Bernabeu of Spain. It's Howell in the white judogi, Bernabeu in blue. The winner of this will face
Come on. You don't have it memorized.
Sally Conway
Okay,
of Great Britain. I didn't want to look at the the list. It was just taking a while to get there.
I'm not even trying. I just read the list.
In what could be a big surprise, because we didn't pick out this morning the possibility that there would be an all Great Britain final in the under 70 kilo category.
That's right.
Given that we had the world number 1 here, Elvis Mar Rodriguez, we kind of penciled her in.
Who got upset?
Well, we said that Conway was the Olympic bronze medalist, and it might be a little contest there, but pretty much looking at Elvis Mar Rodriguez as the favorite today. Well, she's been consigned to the repechage, and it's Sally Conway who awaits the winner of this contest in the final. It could very well be that Gemma will come up with something. We'll see.
Okay. Howell penalized for illegal grip. Must have been inside. I couldn't see it.
I say the repechage, but having lost in the semi-final, Rodriguez went straight into the bronze medal match. Yeah, right. Sorry about that.
Howell trying to drive into a big side throw, but just not able to get Bernabeu around. Bernabeu. Bernabeu coming in and constantly driving her side in to try and get an attack, but not having her hands in place. So, but getting Howell down to the ground and now working to get a turn in here, but not making any progress. See that wide base that Howell has just meant that she couldn't turn her at all. I mentioned core strength earlier in one of the matches. It's something that gets developed in judo to a very high degree. The level of coordination and transfer of power that has to occur between the two extreme ends of the body means that the core has to be extremely strong. And so judo players develop this core strength, which is just unreal sometimes. So again, you can see it here. Howell has that left leg braced straight out so that Bernabeu just can't get anything going at all. But it wasn't her hands doing the bracing, it was her leg. Howell's leg. So let's see if, so we had a pattern. Let's see, so here we have the same, okay. Bernabeu brings Howell down for the wazari. There was a nice little ashiwaza.
Minute
Howell
40 left on the clock, sorry, go on.
Howell pointing at her chin because Bernabeu had her across her face. Anyway, that was a nice little sasai, I think. Sasai Tsurikomiyashi for bring Howell down for a wazari. Bernabeu being a very powerful player, drawing Howell in. Howell trying to hold on to that one leg and getting into a Sewanage position, but not able to do it. Now a Soretsu Gomegoshi, followed by Kouchigari, but none of it worked. Coming down, giving Bernabeu another chance to do this turn, which she's trying. She's not doing a sankaku though. She's not trying to hook her own knee in, which is kind of interesting. So I'm not sure exactly how she's trying to make that turn work. It's clearly wearing Howell down. 40 seconds left. Bernabeu up by Wazari.
Half a minute left to go. And if I'm not mistaken, what we could have is a repeat. Oh no, it was Bernabeu lost to the German in Rio for the bronze medal match. Laura Vargas Koch. So it won't be a repeat. But Sally Conway won the other.
Howell
bronze
desperately
on the other
trying to
side.
catch up here, but just not going to happen. Bernabeu holds her off. Bernabeu from Spain will advance to the finals, under 70 kilo weight class.
Yeah, Laura Vargas Koch of Germany defeated Maria Bernabeu of
In
Spain
Rio.
in Rio. Yeah. So Bernabeu ended up with a fifth place finish in Rio. Sally Conway ended up with the bronze medal. Just trying to remember who it was that.
Well, let's go to mat 1 to try to pick up the rest of
Yeah, because it's
Tohar Butbol's match.
Butbol in the white judogi, Alexander Turner in blue. There's no score in this contest yet. There's a minute 20 left to go. Turner's picked up 2 penalties. Butbol just the 1. And I'll come back to you with.
Oh, nice Tomonoge, but see, that's where you're getting in and getting elevation. But Turner is able to stop it before it really gets going. See, but that's what Tomonoge should happen. You get in and their legs fly up in the air and they come completely around in a circle.
Conway defeated Bernadette Graf of Austria.
Butbol really manhandling Turner at the moment. Of course, both have Shidos on the board. Butbol has 1, Turner has 2. Now, Turner picks up the 3rd one for passivity, giving Butbol the match. That is a shame.
Yeah.
You never like to see matches end that way.
Oh, well, just done that one. Well, there's no more judo on mat number 1, so we can move safely down to mat number 2 now. We'll pick up the repechage contest in the under 63 kilo category. This contest is between Enriqueles Barrios representing the International Judo Federation, and she faces Angeles Lopez Aguilera of Spain. Barrios in the white judogi, Lopez Aguilera in blue. Here's Jean again. It's all yours, buddy.
Oh, nice. Here's another example of Barrios coming in and Lopez using that charge to try to drop into a throw. Barrios was able to stop it just in time. I think Barrios might have the edge in power here, but oh, and there it is. That was nice. Pretty much equal grip, but then Barrios is able to come over the top while she's stepping in for this deep Osoro entry, and then just drive Aguilera to the ground. And you could see as she fell, it was such a hard fall that Aguilera's head actually bounces a bit. Boom. And see, really coming in powerfully. And Aguilera is just not able to withstand that. Really powerful, powerful throw. See how Barrios switched to a Maki Komi kind of finish. She wound it around herself. Amy Livesey from Great Britain.
Oh, she's still in there, eh?
Vivian Herman.
Livesey in the white judogi, Herman in blue. British fighters in and around the medals today, eh?
Hey.
A few there. We lost a brother. He unfortunately has gone out, but still a chance for Amy Livesey. And then we lost Ljubljana Pievasana as well. She disappeared, unfortunately. She went down into the bronze medal contest, so it could have been that matchup.
Nice Ouchigari try there. Dropped right into this one-handed choke. Kata tejime. And Herman taps out.
That was on pretty
Getting
quick.
up kind of slow. I think she was close to out.
Sure. Yeah.
When you see that,
get a bit of a headache.
She was close to unconscious at that point.
Snapped that on pretty quick.
Yeah. Here's the thing about judo chokes. So here's another thing for people who may be new to judo is judo chokes, when they're applied correctly, are very safe.
Yeah.
They're very effective, but they're very, very safe. They don't damage the brain at all. They don't cause any damage to the neck. They're very good at stimulating this reflex in the brain, which causes unconsciousness. And it can happen very fast.
The only thing you've got to do is tap.
if you don't tap in time, you'll be out. The next thing you know, you're waking up.
Gene, just quickly on that, your own personal experience of tapping or not.
Okay. Well, in a competition, when you're being choked, I very rarely tapped. I would try to fight until the last moment because
strong man, eh?
I wasn't worried about injury. Arm bars are a different story.
Yeah.
You have to tap in arm bars because arm bars won't knock you out; they will simply damage you. And so, while there's a real reason to tap to prevent injury with arm bars, there's not the same drive in tapping for a choke.
You take a little bit longer, don't you? You run that risk a bit
and you
more.
never tap in a pin, ever, because you're not going to get hurt. You're only going to lose. You might as well fight to the end.
I don't know why or how it was that I came to learn that and agree with that, but it was, from children at the club, you always attempted to use the whole time in an attempt to escape, and if you couldn't, then you simply couldn't, but you used up all the time in attempting to do it. Anyway, we haven't properly introduced Juan Diego Tosios of El Salvador. He faces Serdan Mervaljevic of Montenegro. It's Tosios in the white judogi and Mervaljevic in blue, and here's Gina.
Oh, you're so good at that, Mervaljevic. When you get three consonants in a row.
Mervaljevic. Well, thanks very much for that.
So what did you think about tapping in a choke?
I'm not going to go into it too much because I think I have mentioned it previously, and I don't want my director to fall off his chair laughing because he knows the story very, very well. But no. I was prone to waking up somewhere else.
Yeah.
In the belief that I was somewhere else.
Yeah. Right.
You know, I was.
Yeah, there have been times when I've been choked out and I had complete dreams.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
all of a sudden you wake up and you're back in the dojo.
Yeah, let's not go there.
But here's the thing, okay? I want to make sure that, again, properly applied chokes are very safe.
Oh yeah,
and they don't damage you. I got my
safe.
PhD and I was choked out several times, and I was fully functioning cognitively. So it did not keep me from a full intellectual life.
Both fighters pick up penalties for non-combativity. It's a little bit tentative at the moment, Tercios and Mivaljevic.
Here we see this Kenkayotsu position again. A right hand grip against a left hand grip. So both players are grabbing the collar on the same side. They're holding each other out while they're trying to draw each other in at the same time on the same side. You see that, okay, Tercios gave it up and tried something else. Didn't work. Mivaljevic is trying for the turn, but again, no avail. That's something you don't see very often is Mivaljevic is wearing shin guards.
Yeah, there are a few, but it's rare. Yeah.
Used to see that a lot. Because, as you've been watching, you see all this tapping of the leg. Where you're trying to get these low-level foot sweeps and leg sweeps. If people aren't good at it, they end up just kicking you and bruising the heck out of your shins. And if you've ever been kicked in the shin, you know it hurts. So, okay. He called Mate just as he was coming in. I wonder if he's going to call somebody for, yep. Well, if somebody might get called for passivity. If it's Tercios, he's out. If it's Mivaljevic, and they're even in Shido's. False attack. Wow. From Tercios. For that last attack. It wasn't passivity. It was that drop into Tayatushi, which was not a serious throw. Okay, and here we have the semifinal between Victor Penalba from Brazil versus Emmanuel Lucenti from Argentina.
No love lost here then.
Probably not.
This
you never know.
This is as big as they come.
They could be pen pals.
This is as big as they come in Pan America. Brazil versus Argentina.
So another Kenkayotsu position with Brazil taking the left side grip. I'm sorry, Penalba taking the left side grip. Lucenti taking the right side grip. His right hand on the collar. They're both again being really, really, who's going to get this grip? So there, Penalba had the overhand grip, but Lucenti then turned. Okay, they're both being penalized for passivity. They're not making enough progress toward really trying to get a throw in. So, got to open it up. Oh, nice. Simultaneous Ashiwaza bet with Lucenti coming to the outside. And now coming in for Uchimata. And Penalba responding with an Uchimata. So they certainly turned that around from being passive to opening up the attack, the action. And it's exciting because, you know, even though it doesn't look very dynamic at the moment, an amazing amount of power is being generated in these grips. They get those grips and they're pulling and they're striving at the same time, and there's a lot of tension being stored. There's all this potential energy being stored up there, and when they do these, then they combine that with these lower attacks with the lower body, there's the potential for a big throw to happen. So it may not look like a lot is going on, but there really is enormous energy being generated and contained, and then all of a sudden, you know, with the potential to be released at any second. And the speed at which their hands move, you know, getting these grips, releasing them. See, you know, Lucenti is really trying to drive Penalber's hand off, but, you know, Penalber's grip is so strong. Oh, he comes in with Ouchigari, but not quite able to do it. Lucenti's, you know, just that core strength is able to keep his posture upright. It's not really disrupted, even though he only had 1 foot on the ground.
This is what we
again, Ouchigari.
This is what we spoke about this morning. You know, this semi-final match. Remember?
Right.
Penalber,
that's right. Penalber versus
Lucenti.
We're looking forward to this.
They were destined to meet.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I misnamed that throw. It was Ouchigari, not Kouchigari. Establishing grips again. Lucenti gets that pistol grip. And a strong right hand. Penalber getting the double collar grip, but really maintaining a left side stance. Never a match can be seen as a series of exchanges. And each time, each player learns something about how that other player is playing today. Okay, coming in with a left side Kouchigari. I'm sorry, Ouchigari again. I don't know why I keep doing that. Ouchigari on the other side. So Penalber's really testing out Lucenti's stance. Really seeing how he responds to these lower body, I should say, threats. See how deeply Lucenti is leaning, maybe trying to set up Penalber. Penalber really maintaining tension on the upper body. No score. Really tense match.
Delay our lunch slightly.
Another slow burner.
Yeah, there's some where the tension, you know, you can feel it.
Yeah.
And this is one of those contests, and it makes for interesting viewing, even if it's for the purist. You have to have a slightly deeper understanding than just, oh, I think I might look at that judo and see what that's about. You may find this difficult going, but for Gene and I, and
look at all that.
Ouchigari left-sided. Lucenti was strong enough to stand up there and avoid getting caught.
Lucenti has got to get something going because Penalber has got all of the attacks going. Lucenti is really withstanding them, but he's not really setting his own stuff up. And they're in golden score now.
40 seconds into golden score.
If he gets
tight rope,
penalized,
walking the tightrope here.
See, now Penalber knows this, and so he is now trying attacks, and then by contrast to establish that, you know, Lucenti is not attacking, which isn't as good as a throw, but, you know. Oh, there we go, very deep. Oh, and switching to a really deep Sewanage, and then trying to convert that
almost
into his
the
own.
Unlock, yeah. Well,
Right,
Lucenti
Jujigatame.
fancies his chances here, but I don't think they're going to give it to him. I think the attack was over. He'd blocked it.
Oh, yeah, there was no.
And then Penalber decided, right, I'm going to throw
Right.
myself in here and
Right.
attempt the Jujigatame. It didn't come off.
There's no throw on Lucenti's part
yeah.
there. It had converted too. Right. So what we're saying is that Lucenti launched a Sewanage, Penalber addressed it and tried to counter with an armbar.
Yeah.
And then fell to his side, and Lucenti was looking up to see if that would count as a throw in his favor.
And he can't call that a false attack because he pushed a Penalber away.
Right. Uh-oh.
No,
Okay.
he pushed him away.
Right.
In,
I
in
was
defense,
just,
yeah.
I thought he said Mate, so.
He's just raising his hand to scratch his
This
there.
match is all kinds of tense now. Okay, now Lucenti's really picking it up. Two really quick, deep Sewanages, really trying to drive him around, and he had the strong, strong right-hand grip. He's got that inside, really likes it. Coming in again for Sewanage. Nope. Penalber really trying to maintain his upright posture. Oh. See, little foot sweeps, and then, okay, that attack wasn't as convincing, but they're coming off the mat. At this point, fatigue is definitely a factor. Both men fixing their gis.
Ooh. Wow, it's such a finely balanced contest. What a shame to end it on
and I don't think Lucenti really believed
yeah.
it. Oh.
What a shame.
Yeah.
It's going along nicely. I'd have liked to have seen a little bit more of that, to be honest.
I just feel teased now. All that tension and all of that energy, and then it ends with a penalty. Oh. Okay, now here we have a totally different kind of match. You know, they're really long range. Both tall, long players. Lots of dynamic motion. But you can see how it doesn't have the same kind of tension at all. Not that this isn't a good match, it's just that it's very different.
Well, on the tatami now, it's Eduardo Araujo of Mexico. He's up against Patrick Dawson of Great Britain. Araujo in the white judogi, Dawson in blue. And thanks very much to our coffee server, who's standing a few feet away from us. The young Mexican boy came and said to us, "Excuse me, it's Araujo." I was calling him all sorts of things. Araujo and Araujo or Joe or whatever it is. Araujo. Okay.
Oh, big sweep. Totally missed. Responded with a Sasai and then a Tomonage.
Easily avoided there by Dawson.
A little elevation there, but yeah, really no big threat. But still a nice combination by Araujo.
Oh, that's a lot better.
There you go. Sewanage for Wazari.
Well, he's angry with himself because he knows he shouldn't have got caught there. He felt it coming, and he decided to I don't know what he decided to try and do, but he definitely didn't give it the ugly block or just...
false attack on
thought he
Araujo.
could do something with it.
Yeah.
No, you had to get out there. He didn't, got
Might have
caught.
underestimated his... Oh, nice, deep.
He's got
Ko
plenty of time,
Uchigari.
220 odd.
Yeah.
See if he can come back. Not what the doctor ordered for Dawson.
Araujo. Dawson really reaching out, trying to use his reach. Araujo really, using that drive. Nice!
Almost.
Nice deep Kochigari. I think this is a good example of, Araujo knows he doesn't have the reach or the length that Dawson does, so he's using that and getting inside. And that's how he's taken him down a couple times now. Once for a Wazari. And so Dawson's having to play from the outside. Of course, he's really trying it. I mean, he's trying to reach over the top. Araujo's doing a good job now of locking him up. Of course, you can't just stay there. You have to keep trying to throw. Okay. But it's legitimate to really deal with the partner, the opponent you're playing. Oh, trying to do another kochigari. Making us stumble a little bit. 1 minute, 16 seconds left. Nice! Taking that reach and trying to convert it to sewanage. And this time Dawson stepped off to the side the way he should have and kept it from being a score. But still, it was a nice attack, nice exchange. And that's what we want to see. Okay, coming in for that sort of sewanage, but then almost doing a kochigari. Arayu really keeping up the pace. Showing he's still in the match. He's not really taking chances. Okay, another big sewanage. Dawson's got to step it up. Okay. Yeah, Dawson's got to step it up. Oh, that was just bad. Arayu dropped when his hand was way out of position. His right arm was way out of position. Dawson just brought him down. That was dangerous. Could have hurt his shoulder.
Last half a minute then. Dawson still searching for a score.
And he's got, that's a good setup. Oh, come on. If he could just get that right hand pulled more. Oh, he's tried for the step, but Arayu dropped.
The time ticking away now.
Yep, and Arayu's going to try and eat it up on the mat. He's trying to turn him, and Dawson's trying to get up.
He just wants to get out of there. Yeah.
12 seconds.
Last roll of the dice here then for Patrick Dawson. Got to go now.
Arayu's got to. Can he? Okay. Trying good. Nice.
And he does.
Very
score as
good. So really nice. It's a. They're called out of bounds, but he got the wazari. So there's an example of Dawson just having to do something, and Arayu, he could have just held out, but then he converted it. It was good.
A second score right at the death for Eduardo Arayu. Puts him into the bronze medal contest, puts Patrick Dawson out. We'll see Arayu in the final block, and we'll be back at 5 o'clock for the final block. Before that, we've got one more contest. It's the under 73 kilo category, second of the under 73 kilo category semi-finals, and it's Marcelo Contini of Brazil to face Javier Ramirez of Spain. Contini in the white judogi, Ramirez in blue.
That was a fun match to watch.
Yeah, there was a lot going on in there, and the nice thing was that Dawson, because he was behind, had to open up. He had to come forward. He had to try things. At the same time, Arayu didn't just shut up shop. You know, he had a bit of a go, and he didn't try and run away or just, you know, sit back. He was still in it, and he ended up coming.
I think he would have liked to have just in the last few seconds.
Not?
He was really trying to hold it off, but Dawson was pressing so hard. Arayu had to respond. He couldn't just, and so he did the right thing, and he really tried to throw Dawson with all of that energy he was bringing into it. So Contini in white, Ramirez in blue. Both, again, you see this a lot at this weight class, these kind of long-limbed players.
Yeah.
Again, the Kinkayotsu position, the fighting position, grip to grip, right to left, with Ramirez taking the left-hand grip and Contini taking the right. Ramirez reaching over. Trying to get that dominant position and that Kenkayotsu grip. But Contini really keeping his elbow in position. Getting a double collar now grip with a right-handed stance. He's going to try and come in and really draw Ramirez in. But he's taking a little too much time. They're both going to get called on that. Yep. Both called for passivity. Because once you have the grip, as we saw in some of these other matches, a couple matches ago, so much tension. You could tell when they're really drawing it in and they're really setting it up. And it's not quite happening here. We've got both players getting their grip, but neither one has got that same kind of really intense threat intrinsic to their stances. See, there's an attack, but it was never really, it was not deep enough or had any Kazushi. It just wasn't going to go anywhere. Oh, there we go. But it was his grip again. He had so you could see how he had that grip on the sleeve. Okay, so Contini trying to get that Sankaku, but just no progress being made. You can throw somebody when you have your grips way out on the ends of the sleeves like that, but it's really hard. And there has to be a lot of movement. And so like there, that attempt, that just wasn't convincing at all. I bet he's going to call for false attack. Yep, false attack. I like this ref. He agrees with me.
Okada. He's on the same page, is he? Yeah, I like when that happens.
Contini is going to get called soon too. He's just not. He's on the inside. He's got a tiny bit of an advantage there, but he's not doing anything with it. Okay, so
there's another one we're going to need some extra time.
And because penalties do not decide the match in regulation time. And Ramirez has 2 Shidos. Contini has 1. If Ramirez gets another one, he'll be out. Contini gets one, they'll be even. Oh, that might count for a roll. That might count for a counter. Javier stepped in for a big Osoto, but Contini drew him to the outside.
You're having a look at this. Why
and
not?
Brought Ramirez over onto his back.
Oh, we've still got a few seconds here before that comes up. We're still looking at the
earlier
end of the golden
We're looking at the
score
replay
period,
on our own computer here.
And it's 28 seconds. It's going to be a long time. It's going to be before we get it here.
Yeah.
It'll be up on the big screen in the venue. And
no,
they decided
it wasn't enough of a control.
Okay,
so it didn't count.
So I'm not going to bother to look at the replay.
Oh, coming in for the. Oh, could have been a nice Uchimata. No. Trying for a foot sweep, another foot sweep. Now they're getting a little bit more workmanlike. Now Contini's really switched up his grip. Now he's on the outside. And really coming in for Uchimata. Nice. That's enough for Ozari on the match. Okay, nice finish. Nice finish. Took him a while, but we could see that again. But anyway, Contini switched up his grip, was able to really bring him in.
Oh, that was
And got this just beautiful elevation.
Yeah.
But he couldn't quite pull him all the way around. See that low grip on the sleeve? If Contini had the elbow, he would have been able to pull Martinez around. I'm sorry, Ramirez? I can't remember his name. Ramirez. Around for the full ippon. But, and
he just about squeezes it out,
almost
doesn't he?
squeezed it out, yeah, but he landed on his hip, landed on his side, and then brought his leg out.
And then the rest of it was there too.
Right.
He's not able to get the elbow down on flat. Yes, he's down on his side. That would have been, in the old days, a Yuko. Everything that is Yuko, or was Yuko, is now Wazari. So he just pulls that one out.
We could watch it 6 or 7 more times.
Yeah. Now, before we go, let me tell you that we will be back at 5 o'clock. It's 1:30 here. So wherever it is, try and work that out. It's 1:30 where we are here in Cancun, and we'll be back at 5 o'clock with all the medal matches in the final block. But before we go, I'll just tell you who the finals are. And in the finals, we're going to, in the under 63 kilo category, we'll see Caitlin Quadras of Brazil. She faces Amy Livesey of Great Britain. In the under 70 kilo category, it'll be Sally Conway of Great Britain to face Maria Bernabeu of Spain. In the under 73 kilo category, it'll be Toha Butbul, who's being nicknamed Pitbull. I suppose that goes, doesn't it? Toha Butbul of Israel to face Marcello Contini of Brazil. And in the under 81 kilo category, it's Etienne Briand of Canada. He faces Emmanuel Lucenti of Argentina. Just before we go, maybe Jean Shin has got some comments about the matchups that we're going to see. Anything to add to that?
Well, I'm really looking forward to that boot ball match, and I think also against Contini.
Yeah, not a bad boy, is he?
They've been very strong today, and that's where there's been a lot of this tension that we've been talking about. And then also this Lucenti and Briand match, I think, is also going to be
again
really good.
a Pan-American matchup there. And then we've got an all-European match with Conway, who, as I said before, was an Olympic bronze medalist in Rio, and Maria Bernabeu of Spain, who was 5th in Rio. So that's a top draw contest there in the final of the under 70 kilo category, and that is even without the world number 1 Elvis Mar Rodriguez. Right, join us again for all the medal matches at 5 o'clock, but from Jean Shin and myself, it's bye-bye for now.
Bye.